From New Smyrna Speedway in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, it is night number 3 of 9 for the 57th running of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. Along with Jesse Punch and Charles Kroll, I'm Adam Mackey bringing you all of tonight's action on Flow Racing. No rain right now, Charlie. That's a good thing. The last two nights, we've had plenty of Mother Nature's wrath. Just a few sprinkles early in the day today on the way to the racetrack. It's been good all night. A little bit on the chilly side, and for the first time this week, we see the fires lit up, which kind of become a tradition here during the World Series there on pit road.
And it was weird because it was very windy earlier in the day. The wind, thankfully, has died down quite a bit, but you get used to those warm temperatures. You know, where you and I come from up in the Midwest, a day like today would literally be shorts weather, but we're kind of bundled up here today. I think
it's literally shorts weather today.
High of 65. Yeah, you're always in shorts, though. About high of 65 today, maybe, but it feels a little chilly outside. I think it will get a little chillier as we go along here. The burn barrel's already going down there in turn one for the infield crowd, but I have a feeling that the cool temp's going to really make the action on the racetrack pretty hot tonight because, as always, a little bit cooler cooler temperature in the air means a little bit cooler track temperature, which does usually lead to some pretty good competition on the racetrack.
You can see them gathering around that barrel down there. That shows what it feels like outside. 55 degrees, the real field temperature of 52. The winds have been very high today, gusting up in around the 30-mile-per-hour range, and that makes it feel even colder than it really is. The super late models are lining up on pit road, and they haven't had a chance to get on track to race yet. They've done a lot of practice. They've done a lot of qualifying, but this is their first chance to race here tonight.
Good feel the late models lining up here for tonight's opening act. And a pretty stacked lineup as well. Some pretty big names ready to go here tonight.
And, of course, all these races build up to Tuesday night's Clyde Hart Memorial for the ASA Southern Super Series, a $10,000 to win 100-lap feature with a field of nearly 30 entered now for this Tuesday. Here's a look at the starting lineup for tonight's 35-lap opener for the super late models at the World Series. Jake Finch and the Phoenix Construction number 51 will be starting from the pole. He qualified 6th. The invert was a 6th, putting himself on the pole position. Gio Ruggiero, young driver in the number 22, is having a pretty good start to his super late model career. He's been fast. He starts outside of row 1. Row 2 is William Sawalich, another young driver with a bright future, drives car number 2. And Connor Jones, winning the pro late model race last night, he starts outside of row 2.
Yeah, keep an eye on Connor Jones tonight. That 44 car was fast qualifier for the opening night, which we got rained out the other night. So 44 Connor Jones should be very strong. Connor Mosak will start 5th tonight in the number 28 car, alongside quick qualifier Casey Roderick in the number 18. Gabe Summers will start 7th tonight in the number 15 car. He will be alongside Matt Craig in row 4.
Starting in position 9, he's already a winner this week. He won on opening night in the Sportsman feature, the only race that was held Friday night before the rain hit. That's Derek Griffin from Hudson, New Hampshire. He starts the 12G inside of row 5. Michael Hine, tough night last night in his pro late model. Ended up with a crashed front end. He opens with his super late model starting 10th tonight. Brad May, many-time track champion, starts 11th in car number 9. And James Lynch, driving the 76, starts 12th.
Nick Noggle in the number 08 car will start inside row number 7. He's alongside Billy Van Meter, regular competitor in the ASA CRA Super Series. Todd Stone and Chris Wright, Craftsman Truck Series regular, starting back in row 8.
Final 2 rows features Tommy Catalano in car number 54T. We're used to seeing him in the Tour Type Modifieds. Right. They bring a super late model down this year. They were actually scheduled to do that a year ago. They just didn't have it quite ready in time, so he debuts his super late model here tonight in 54. Austin Terrace in the 29 will start 18th, starting 19th, the 112 of Steve Weaver Jr. and Patrick Thomas in the 9T, scheduled to start in position 20. They'll take a couple of extra laps before the start of this one, get a little heat in the tires on a cooler February evening here in Florida.
Yeah, definitely want to get some temperature in the tires, get the fluids warmed up in those engines. Don't want to do any undue damage to the engines, running them cold here tonight, so we'll give them a couple of extra laps. You see them swerving back and forth to build some temperature in the tires.
Casey Roderick with Anthony Campi Racing in 2023, I think, expected to really be a stout competitor with that pairing between the two, and he starts off his World Series week with a fast qualifying effort. He starts from position 6, short distance affair, so sometimes these inverts are tough to get back up to the front, but I think, being on the outside lane here at the start of the race, things work out just right. He could be up there battling for the win, and I think he's one of the favorites for this week's championship.
If you were at any weekly racetrack in the country and you drew a 6 invert, you would think, oh, he's got plenty of time, 35 laps, plenty of time to get up to the front. Got the best of the best here, Adam. The 6 cars he's going to have to work his way through. Each and every one of them would be one of the best drivers in the country. So we're going to keep a close eye on Casey Roderick, as we do indeed have the lights out on the pace car. 1 to go. Next time by, we will go racing. 35 quick laps. Jake Finch and Gio Ruggiero up on the front row.
Pace car will drop to pit road in turn number 4. Finch and Ruggiero coming through turns 3 and 4 to Ralph Miller's green flag for the first time tonight. Night number 3 of the World Series in 2023 underway at New Smyrna Speedway.
Good clean start. Let's see what happens down into 1 and 2, side by side. Battle up at the front. Good run off the top side for Gio Ruggiero right there. He's going to take the fight to Jake Finch, side by side into 3. Finch going to get the drive off of 4. He will lead lap 1.
A lot of times a good place to be on opening starts and restarts. The outside of row number 1. There it was Finch having a good start. A little bit of contact between the team cars there. To the inside, here comes William Sawalich racing with Gio Ruggiero. First night of super late model competition, and the teammates from Wilson Motorsports side by side for the runner-up spot.
William Sawalich has really come into prominence based on his success here at the World Series the last couple of years. He's going to be running in the ARCA Menard Series for Joe Gibbs Racing, in addition to select super late model races throughout 2023. And Sawalich going to move up to 2nd.
Good run from Sawalich. You saw the last time they went through 1 and 2, tire smoke going into the air. We talked about Casey Roderick and starting in 6th, this top qualifier. He's already made his way to 4th, and he's about to challenge for a top 3 spot early in this race. 4 down at the line, Jake Finch trying to pull away.
Couple of good 3-car battles on the racetrack. You've got Sawalich, Ruggiero, and Roderick battling for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then this battle, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And look at Connor Jones and Gabe Summers going to battle into turn 3.
Good run into the corner for Summers. He was able to drive in hard, keeps it on the bottom against the line, which is where you want to be down in 3 and 4. That's a good sign with the way that car rotated. Summers, we've seen him race quite a bit over the last few years here during the World Series. This battle is led by the 54 of Matt Craig. It's 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th side by side. Chris Wright running the high lane, bottoming out. Sparks coming out from under the car. He and Stone get together. They continue on in the right direction. Look out.
Good save there by Chris Wright, but you did see some debris flying off of that race car. Did go down to the infield. We're going to stay green, and then we're going to jump back up to the front. There's William Sawalich trying to reel in Jake Finch up at the front.
Scary moment there for Stone and Wright.
I thought they were pointed right towards that infield wall there.
They were, but fortunately they were able to point him back in the right direction. There's Craig again. Former winner of the All-American 400, but tonight not quite up to speed here early on. Running in 9th, Brad May right behind him many time. New Smyrna Speedway champion and Speed Week champion as well. Goes to the inside. It's a battle for the 9th position. It looks like the Orlando, Florida driver is going to take the spot from Craig.
If memory serves, Brad May won a race here in the World Series last year. I believe he was our opening night winner, if memory serves.
He does have 4 super late model World Series wins, but also pro lates. 19 wins across 4 different divisions at the World Series for Brad May.
Keep an eye on the 69 car, the brightly colored number 69 there. Have been seeing a little bit of smoke out of the exhaust pipes the last couple of laps down into turns 1 and 2. So Michael Hind in that number 69 car could be working on, and there you see it right there, just a little wisp of smoke out of the pipes. That could be a developing issue on Michael Hind as he circulates in the 11th position. And how about that battle up at the front, Adam? William Sawalich has reeled in Jake Finch in a battle for the lead.
Sawalich has closed the gap. A lot of youth at the front of our field, including Jake Finch, William Sawalich, and Gio Ruggiero. Some teenage drivers racing for the win on opening night for super late models, at least here at the World Series. 23 laps to go, and Finch has his rear view mirror full of Wilson Motorsports cars.
Sawalich has made up about a 5-car length gap here over the last couple of laps. Right now, just following in the tire tracks. Jake Finch showing the way. Sawalich in second. Gio Ruggiero in third. And they're going to have some company here as well because Casey Roderick, Connor Mosack, both kind of reeling in those top three.
Watching the top three. Still early in this race. 13 down. Going to be 14 complete at the line. 6 features on tap tonight here on Flow Racing. Going to be a busy night. A makeup feature for the Bomber A's coming up next as we continue to watch Finch lead the way.
Jake Finch still on top of that leaderboard. He's got a couple of teammates, the Wilson Motorsports teammates behind. And how about this battle? Gabe Summers with a mirror full of Connor Jones. And look at that driver in the 12G, Derek Griffith. First time we've seen him on screen tonight. 2-time World Series champion. Looking for that 3rd championship overall. Already picked up a win earlier this week in the Sportsman division. Got a lot of ground to make up. Derek Griffith currently back in 8th.
Yeah, made one position forward for Griffith since his start of the race, where he was in the 9th starting spot, winning the championship here in 20 and 21. Did not win the Super Late Model Championship a year ago as we watch Connor Jones. Good battle to the inside of Gabe Summers. Connor Jones' car looks strong here. Pro Late Model was perfect last night, claiming the victory in that 35-lap event.
Connor Jones making the move into Super Late Model competition for the first time here in 2023. As we jump back up to the front of the field, here comes William Sawalich in that number 2 car. Good run through the center of the corner. I thought he was going to get up under the rear bumper of Jake Finch right there for a moment. As now it looks like Adam Casey Roderick joining that train. A 4-car battle for the lead.
Definitely the 2-car of Sawalich is quicker right now than Finch. However, Finch is holding a pretty wheel, protecting the lines he needs to protect. But at what point does he get some bumper? It's right there in turn 1. Sawalich to the low side for the lead. Finch trying to hang on to the outside. Can Sawalich clear him? The answer is yes. Does Finch retaliate? Maybe a little bit in 3. Not enough to wiggle the 2-car of Sawalich. New leader. 15 to go, William Sawalich.
And that was a perfectly delivered bump and run pass right there by William Sawalich. Just enough to upset that 51 car and move him up the racetrack. Nothing egregious enough to set him sideways. But indeed, new leader William Sawalich. And here comes Casey Roderick. He's underneath Gio Ruggiero to take over that 3rd spot. Does Roderick have enough time to not only get past Jake Finch in 2nd, but enough time to track down William Sawalich up at the front?
He does. Sawalich better get up on the wheel and try to get as much gap as he can on 2nd and 3rd. Pretty good battles throughout our top 10. A lot of passing. You see that little bump and run? You'll see that quite a bit this week between Pro Late Models and the Super Late Models.
Just perfectly delivered. Nudge right there by William Sawalich.
Connor Mosack in the 28 car, leading this group of cars on the upper left of our screen. He's running in 6th. You see Matt Craig in the lower right. Car in the pits. They're working on it. He was not fast, and this could be a deal where they're checking to make sure everything's okay and or making an adjustment to go back out and see if they make any ground on trying to get this car faster.
Good battle for position right here. Connor Mosack in 6th. Gabe Summers in 7th. Derek Griffith in 8th.
Griffith brakes glowing on the front of that race car. Here we see Summers ready to make the move on Mosack. That is 6th, 7th, and 8th. 10 laps remain, and William Sawalich leads the way as we watch a little further back outside of the top 5.
Connor Mosack, a young man who has split his time between Super Late Model racing, Trans Am racing, doing some racing in not only the ARCA series, but the NASCAR Xfinity series as well. He's got Midwest Tour regular Gabe Summers now working to the inside. Summers going to take over that position. We're going to stack them 2 deep, 2 rows deep. Brad May joining this battle as well as Derek Griffith now working to the inside of Connor Mosack.
We're just a couple of years removed when Connor Mosack was running Super Late Models here on a nightly basis during the World Series and getting quite a few top 3 finishes. He was outstanding one of the years of Super Late Model racing here at New Smyrna there. Griffith kind of took his lane away going into turn 1, and that opens the door for Brad May as well. Mosack has slipped back to 8th, about to lose the 8th position to Brad May. He does in turn 3. 7 laps remain.
There's the battle for 2nd right now. Casey Roderick to the inside of Jake Finch. Ooh, he throws the right rear fender there to Jake Finch through the center of the corner. Casey Roderick up to second. Gio Ruggiero trying to follow him through. Now, Adam, the question is...
There's a big bump.
Ooh, big bump right there. The question is, does Casey Roderick have his 6 laps enough time to get up there and battle with William Sawalich for the lead?
He's going to need a little bit of a mistake, I believe, from Sawalich to catch him now, as Sawalich has just a little under a half straightaway advantage as the battle continues for the 3rd spot. On the inside is Ruggiero. Outside is Finch. Giving each other a little room outside of 4, but then middle of the straightaway, they kind of beat and bang door to door. If there's going to be a place to do that, that's the place to do it. Stay pretty safe as Ruggiero takes the 3rd spot from Jake Finch.
If they didn't swap paint, they sure missed a good opportunity to do so right there. Not a lot of space between those race cars. There's Casey Roderick in 2nd. There's the battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Connor Jones in the black and silver car. Tail end of that 3-car battle. And there is our leader, William Sawalich, coming to complete lap 32. So we will have 3 to go for William Sawalich this time around.
Last time by, just a little over a second lead. This time 1.1, so the gap is actually growing as Sawalich has turned up the wick a little bit. The driver from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, 16 years of age. 2 laps remain.
1 mile of racing remains for William Sawalich. There's Casey Roderick in that number 18 car, Anthony Campy Racing entry. And here is our leader in the Donnie Wilson Motorsports number 2, looking at the white flag. This time around, 1 to go for William Sawalich.
Sawalich had a great 2022 season, has moved up to super late model competition. Young man of 16 years old, and super late model field that was stout tonight. And he's going to top them easily. Looking strong for the first super late model win of the week. William Sawalich claims it. Casey Roderick, Gio Ruggiero takes 3rd. Jake Finch, Connor Jones rounding out the top 5. See a couple cars battling across the line as Connor Mosack and Michael Hind take the final 2 spots in the top 10.
Impressive performance by William Sawalich tonight, and not at all surprised to see a Donnie Wilson Motorsports entry up near the front of the field. In fact, all of the Donnie Wilson Motorsports entries throughout the course of the week. But William Sawalich, as he said, just 16 years of age, pulling down into victory lane. Our opening night winner for the super late model division here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Pretty good race, clean race. Not seeing a yellow flag, going flag to flag, 35 laps in the books. First of 6 features completed. The Bomber A's scheduled to run their makeup feature coming up in moments. And we've got the Florida Modifieds, the Pro Late Models, the 602 Modifieds making their week debut, and E-Mods as well. William Sawalich from Minnesota, one of the bright young drivers, getting ready to climb from behind the wheel of this Donnie Wilson Motorsports number 2. And instantly puts his name in the favorites to have an outstanding week. He did it very well here tonight. Pulled off the perfect bump and run to take the lead. And we'll send it down now to Jesse Punch, who will be in victory lane with our winner.
There he is, our first super late model winner of the week. William Sawalich is in victory lane. William, congratulations on the win. Strong run, dominating run tonight. What was the key to having so much speed out there?
Yeah, I didn't think we were the best car in practice today, but clearly showed we had the best car in the race. So I'm really proud of these Donnie Wilson guys, and can't thank Mobile One, Starkey, and Soundgear enough for all their continuous support and having a lot of fun here.
Starting the week with a win, what does that do for confidence and moving forward?
For sure, it definitely boosts it, and I think we can get a few more here and get the championship.
Congrats on the win, William.
Thank you.
That's William Sawalich, your late model winner here tonight.
Yeah, outstanding run for William Sawalich, getting that car fine-tuned, it looks like, already for this whole week of racing, including the big 100-lap ASA Southern Super Series Clyde Hart Memorial on Tuesday evening. Second place finisher was Casey Roderick. Came from the 6th starting position as top qualifier, and now He finishes second on night one, and he shows that he's got a stout car as well.
Able to work his way through traffic pretty effectively. Just needed to get through just a tick quicker to get up there and battle with William Sawalich as we send it back down to Jesse, standing by with our second place finisher.
Second place tonight in the super late model race, Casey Roderick. Casey, we saw you chasing William there in those last few laps. Take me back through your thought process.
Oh, just, we were rolling tight center, so just doing the best we could to try to make up some ground. But he was really good tonight, and we'll just apply what we learned tonight to tomorrow's race and try to be better. So still got a really good fast race car, and I'm proud of these guys for what they've done this week. It's been a challenging weekend so far to try to get some races in because of the rain, but we'll be all right for tomorrow's race.
That's Casey Roderick, your second place finisher tonight.
He's ready to go for some more nights of racing here. Third place competitor. Good run for Gio Ruggiero. Started on the outside of row number one. Didn't quite get the jump at the start. I'm sure via that outside lane would have loved to get out front. But Jake Finch led the early laps, and the 22 car of Ruggiero then kind of had to battle back to get up into the top three. We send it back down to Jesse, who's with Gio.
Gio, third place tonight in the first late model race of the week. What are your biggest takeaways here from your first run?
Definitely have a lot to build from tonight. The car was really, really good on the long run. So I think we'll be there tomorrow. Just need to work on it. And it was a good day. So congrats to my teammate William on the win. It was a tough race. Just like to thank Race Choice and First Auto Group for all their support.
That's third place in the super late model event for Gio Ruggiero.
Gio Ruggiero, good run there for the number 22, taking home a solid top three run. It was Sawalich, Roderick, Ruggiero, then Jake Finch, Connor Jones, the top five. Gabe Summers, Derek Griffith, Brad May, Connor Mosack, Michael Hine rounding out the top 10. The Bomber A's are getting lined up on pit road for their makeup feature. They didn't get their race in on Friday. They got rained out last night, so they brought them back tonight to give them a chance to race during the World Series. We'll have it for you next on Flow Racing. Back at New Smyrna Speedway for night 3 of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing, William Sawalich, the first super late model rookie since Sammy Smith in 2020 to win his first super late model start during the World Series. So pretty impressive effort for Sawalich.
And how, think about all of the drivers who we have seen cycle through here over the years and really top-notch talent. and to have, it's been a couple of years since Sammy Smith has done it.
You know who else did it?
I see your screen, but I don't want to steal your thunder.
Kyle Larson.
Yeah, that's pretty
he won
impressive.
I think his first 2 of the World Series.
And whatever happened to those 2 guys? We've got a former Cup champion. Sammy Smith's a 2-time ARCA East champion who's going to be racing, full time for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series this year. So, those if you just follow in those footsteps, William, you'll be doing okay.
Not bad at all. Some of those stats there provided by Stat Boy Elgin Trailer always follows along with our broadcast and gives us some of the great information. Absolutely.
We know at least someone's watching.
We know a lot of people are watching on their devices here tonight on Flow Racing, checking out multiple different things that are going on in the world of sports
there's some
tonight.
other sporting event tonight, isn't there?
There might be. I don't know. I think ours is the most important.
I think
though.
so.
That's why we're here.
That's
not
why
there.
we're here. Right.
You see the Bomber A's lining up on pit road. This is a division that runs here at New Smyrna Speedway during the regular season. They had 2 scheduled events during the World Series, one of those Friday, one of those last night. They kept them around because they didn't get either of the first 2 in, and it's a good deal because they'll get a chance to race. We've got around 17 cars here expected to take the green. It's a 20-lap feature event for the Bomber A's.
And we watched them practice and qualify the other day, and they were putting on a show in their qualifying session, group qualifying. I think this is going to be a pretty entertaining 20 laps.
Taking a look at the starting lineup, James Matthews in the 28 on the pole position. The second starting spot, the number 70 car of Charles Friddle. Most of these drivers are from Florida, with a couple from out of state, a couple of Ohio drivers here, Jason Deal from Akron and Jimmy McKinley from Parma, Ohio, 2 of those that came from out of state. Charles Zukowski coming from New York as well. Row number 2 is Charles Zukowski from New York, the 31 car, and Tony Collingsworth in the number 20 from New York.
Stephen Wright in the number 47 automobile will start in the 5th position alongside, looks like Aaron Coy.
Aaron Foy, actually.
Foy. It's an F. Aaron Foy in the number 7 car. Brightly painted number 7, by the way. Joey Warren in the number 15 T will start in the 7th position alongside Brandon Monroe in the number 14.
Position number 9 has C.J. Creech in car number 27 from Orange City, Florida. He was the point champion of this division here in 2022, picking up 1 win 1 season ago for Creech. He starts from 9th. We'll keep an eye on that 27 car. In the 10th starting position is Eddie Evans in the 3E. And then we've got Jimmy McKinley from Ohio, Parma, Ohio driver, car number 16 inside of row number 6, and Dustin Higdon in the 15 from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, a 31-year-old driver on the outside of that row.
Larry Masters in the number 88 will start from the 13th position alongside Yuniel. Is that?
I'd say Yuniel.
Yuniel Diaz in the number 111, 111. Mike Grissom and Daniel Snyder round out row number 8.
Mike Grissom starting toward the back of the field in the 41 car, and that car looks like the old paint scheme Steve Grissom used to have.
Love it. The old Kodiak Bear,
Mike
41.
Mike Grissom from Orlando, Florida. So that's the starting lineup for the Bomber A division. The Bomber B division scheduled to race next weekend on, I believe, Friday and Saturday. So see them. Very similar looking cars, just a different, probably different rule set for the Bomber Bs compared to the Bomber As. Victory Lane has concluded, just about to take the feature event for the Bomber A's onto the racetrack. Again, this will be the second feature of the night with 4 more after this one. As the Florida Modifieds will race next. We've yet to see a Florida Modified race.
This is true.
Either. We're going to see one.
Yeah.
They've been scheduled the first 2 nights. Mother Nature didn't cooperate. Pro Late Models, they did race last night with Connor Jones claiming a victory.
Slugfest last night.
It was a slugfest for a while. 602 Modifieds, great field of those cars. Nearly 40 are here. And then the E-Mods to round out tonight's program. See the Florida Mods lining up along the right side of your screen. Left side of the screen, cars moving from pit road to the racetrack. Entry-level division, front-wheel drive cars, many of them Cavaliers, 4 cylinders.
A couple of Ford products out there, but mainly the Cavalier or the Pontiac Sunfire, very popular in this division. I was a Chevy Cavalier owner for a while back in the day. Never thought of turning it into a race car, though.
I was a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Still am. This place, if you're just tuning in for the first time this weekend, this is night number 3, and it's been absolutely packed. Last night, grandstands overflowing with fans for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour 100-lap feature event. They'll be packed again several more times, as obviously coming up Tuesday night, the big 100-lap feature for the ASA Southern Super Series. Then Wednesday night, the Blewett Memorial Race, 76 laps. Then on Friday night, the big event. I think Thursday night's the special for the Pro late models.
Yep.
100 laps. Friday night, 100 lapper for the Tour Type Modifieds, the Richie Evans Memorial. And then Saturday night, the Orange Blossom 100 or the Super Late Model Special.
And you know, you talk about the Whelen Modified Tour opening their season with a 200-lap event, and that obviously has become a cornerstone event of the World Series here, but it has not taken away at all from the luster or the prestige of the Richie Evans 100. That race dates back to 1986, and it is the race the Tour Type Modified drivers want to win down here. It really is, and it's great to see the fact that although we do have an actual modified tour race here, that the Evans is still just as important as it ever was.
That it absolutely is. Glenn Luckett checking in, watching the Flow Racing broadcast tonight. He was scheduled to be here on one of the race directors this week, but a little under the weather, so he couldn't make the trip. We got Scott Minlin and Nicholas Rogers trying to hold the fort down as best as possible over there.
Glenn, we miss you up here or down here.
As we get ready to go racing in the Bomber A division. James Matthews and Charles Friddle making up our first row in this 20-lap feature event. They get the one-to-go signal this time. We'll go green next time around. For a long time, it was usually just the Tour Type Modifieds, the SK Modifieds, a Pro Late Model class, a Super Late Model class, and a Florida Modified class that made up all of Speed Weeks for the most part. Then the last couple years, they've kind of started feeding in their regular divisions, and I think it's a good thing. Even if they only race a couple nights, it brings the locals out during the winter, and these local fields have improved. The Sportsman field improved this year. The Bomber field has improved this year, so it's all a good sign for those wanting to race during the spectacle that is the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing at New Smyrna Speedway. As here comes Matthews and here comes Friddle to the green.
Green flag waving from Ralph Miller on the flag stand, and the thundering herd down into turns 1 and 2. Stacking them 3 wide off the corner. And watch the amount of contact these cars use. You're going to see 3 wide for the lead going into turn 3. Holy moly.
Look, right side of the screen. One of them goes around.
The number 3. The number 3 has gone around. Still green.
Look at them sideways, even though they're front-wheel drive, and I think the car that got turned around did keep rolling, was able to keep going, and we stay green.
That was Eddie Evans in the number 3 that we saw just to the right side of the screen get sideways, and he is stopped to the bottom side of the racetrack there, so that will put us under the caution flag.
I think that might have been to get a yellow flag.
Strategically.
Mm-hmm. In his defense, I believe he got some contact from behind.
There was a lot of contact on that opening lap.
For the most part, when they do make contact in these cars, they're able to keep going in the right direction because they're front-wheel drive. But every once in a while, get a little contact, and it's too much to keep it going. But we did get a lap in, I believe.
Charles Zukowski did jump up to the lead in the number 31 car. And I was trying, it's really strange when you have all of that action happening in one lap. You have a hard time deciding what you're going to tell everybody about. But Zukowski did indeed leapfrog from his third starting position into the lead, and that was a power move down the backstretch. I was actually going to say these cars don't have a lot of power, so they do a lot of bump drafting at a racetrack like this. You get up there and give that guy a shot, and it helps both of you pick up a little bit of speed. Let's take a look at what happened, and keep an eye on the right side of the screen. The number 3 car sees some problems happening in front of him, and he got off the gas and a big old shot in the bumper there. And I believe that's Daniel Snyder in the 81X car. He saw the 70, which
checked up a little bit.
It's our front row starter, outside front row starter, and he was way out of the gas. Charles Friddle, way out of the gas there after he got, I think, got door slammed going off into the turn there. And Eddie saw all of that happening and said, I don't want any part of that. But unfortunately, Daniel didn't have an opportunity to get on the brakes there and got into the back and sent him around. And that does put us under the caution flag for the first time as we get the 1 to go. Or 2 to go. Yeah, 2 to go that time around.
So they do the choose arrow
Right.
here for all of our divisions. Not sure that anyone necessarily utilized it there. They just kind of doubled up there on the front stretch, and we'll be okay with that, right? So Zukowski is the leader. That's the 31 on the inside lane. Tony Collinsworth on the outside lane. The original pole sitter, the 28 of Matthews, is restarting in the 3rd spot. And then it's the 15 of Dustin Higdon restarting in 4th.
Understand that Janice Matthews in the number 28, who we just said would restart in the 3rd position, left rear flat on that automobile. So the black flag here is just kind of a, hey, you need to get down to the pits, you've got a problem kind of a situation, not a rule infraction. You can see the 28 car now to the outside of the racetrack. You can see that left rear definitely soft.
And we'll see if the 28 does make his way to the bottom of the track. Yeah, it's pretty low. And now he's making some contact with the 15, maybe not knowing that he's supposed to be coming to the pits, but everyone else is aware.
Everyone else is aware.
There he goes. Or maybe some contact came from the 15 that flattened the left rear tire.
I'm starting to get the feeling that he knew that he had to come to the pits. He was just delivering a message of his own right there.
19 laps to go, and as we've seen the 2 times here that they've supposed to choose their lane, it's really not working so well. And many of them, maybe, they don't have spotters necessarily. Right. They don't, maybe not hearing race control over their earpieces, but we'll do their best here. They seem happy with it, right? We're happy
no harm,
with
no
it.
Foul, right? So we should get the 1 to go this time around, and we reset the field for you. Of course, Charles Zukowski, Tony Collinsworth still up on the front row, Dustin Higdon, and Joey Warren. The 215 cars will start back in row 2. Aaron Foy, Brandon Monroe back in row 3. Lights out on the pace car, 1 to go here at start finish.
19 laps remain in the Bomber A Division feature for the week. Cool conditions on a Sunday evening here at New Smyrna Speedway. Charles Crawl, Adam Mackey here in the booth, Jesse Punch down on pit road and in victory lane for the course of the evening. As we come back to green in turn 4.
Pace car making the hard left turn down onto pit road. Charles Zukowski, Tony Collinsworth start to pick up the pace. Green flag back in the air. Let's see if we can get a lap in here as the field again spreads out 3 and 4 wide down into turn 1.
New leader up front, Tony Collinsworth gets the better jump on the 31 of Charles Zukowski. So Collinsworth in the 20. Driver from Calverton, New York. It was a pair of New York drivers on our front row for the restart. Battle now for 2nd position.
Zukowski trying to keep the 15 cars behind him. Dustin Higdon, the 15 with the black hood directly in front of Joey Warren. That's the car with the purple stripe. Warren now looking to the inside of Dustin Higdon down the backstretch. My grandmother, who was a scorer back in the day, would absolutely love 2 white cars with yellow number 15 on the side.
We also saw him going around a slower car on the apron up in 3 and 4 that's not going to make it back to pit road. And there it is. The 13 of Christopher Savigny wasn't on our original starting lineup tonight, but making his way over to turn 4 and couldn't get any further.
And that puts us under the caution flag for the 2nd time.
1 at a time tonight.
2 laps in the books. We are on pace for 20 caution flags here in our Bomber A main this evening.
I'll take the under.
Let's take the under on that one.
So the track crew will head over to turn 4 to get the Savigny car to pit road. Came up just that close to getting to the end of pit road. New leader was Tony Collinsworth. Used the outside lane to race out front on that restart. Charles Zukowski fell in line. Dustin Higdon and Joey Warren, the pair of 15 cars you were talking about. Used to be events at Midvale, for example, they had to reserve numbers even for a regular basis, and there were no duplicate numbers. If you showed up at the racetrack and had a 15 after somebody else had already registered the 15, you better change it to a 16 or something.
Yeah, they would have pulled some tape out.
But now that we have the timing and scoring that's electronic, it's not quite as important.
I would still prefer they at least were different colors.
Yeah, that would make it a little bit easier. But with timing and scoring the way it is, electronic, all the transponders on the car, it became a much easier deal. It's so easy for the flagman to black flag the wrong guy if he's told over radio, hey, black flag the 15. Now, there's a couple of them. Pick your poison.
And of course, inevitably, they run side by side all night long. That's how it's
Very similar
works, right?
schemes.
That's how it works. One to go at start finish that time around. Tony Collinsworth, Charles Zukowski on the front row. Dustin Higdon, Joey Warren back in row 2. CJ Creech, Brandon Monroe, Aaron Foy, Charles Friddle, Daniel Snyder, and Yuniel Diaz round out the top 10 as we come back racing with 18 laps to go.
Here comes Collinsworth. He's the leader on the inside lane. He did it on the outside lane last time. I think they've done away with the choose. Collinsworth not getting up to speed, maybe missing a shift from 1st to 5th, just like that.
Yeah, had to have missed a gear on that restart, and that's going to allow, looks like Dustin Higdon in the white number 15 to the inside. He's got a serious challenge to his right. Charles Zukowski in that 31 car trying to retake the lead as we got him stacked up double wide.
You know, who's also on the move, the point champion in 2022, the 27 of Creech, second place, making some contact there with the leader. Zukowski was able to steer it right into turn 1. The scary moment for first and second at the time.
Joey Warren moving up into the second position past Dustin Higdon right there. Right now, Warren putting some serious pressure on Zukowski for the lead.
We've now completed 4 laps, 16 laps to go. Zukowski, Warren, Higdon, Creech, and Collinsworth, the top 5. Collinsworth's number 20, very fast, just had that failed restart there where maybe not getting it into gear in time and fell from 1st to 5th before they reached turn 1. The leader's in trouble. Warren is there, peeking to the inside.
Charles Zukowski leads the field off of turn 4. He's got Joey Warren in his tire tracks. Look at that 27 car power slide his way through. As he said, track champion CJ Creech in that number 27 car, as we saw, I believe, Dustin Higdon in the other 15 car fall off the pace through turns 1 and 2.
Some sort of an issue for Higdon. Didn't like the way the car felt. Checked up, was in the top 5, going to make his way to pit road. Watching up front with 14 laps to go, leading is Zukowski. It's a little further back here. The outside pole sitter, the 70 of Charles Friddle's moved back up into the top 5, and here's Creech again in the 27 car. Running in third, Collinsworth wants to take it away.
Good battle for the third position, that 27 car. It's almost like CJ Creech has a lot of knowledge of this racetrack. He pitches that car sideways almost every time down into turns 1 and 2.
Car slides up the banking a little bit there. He won the championship, did the 27, with 1 feature win during the 2022 season. Tonight, he's got his work cut out for him, losing the 3rd spot to the early race leader. Tony Collinsworth will take the spot away.
Charles Friddle in that number 70 car working his way into battle for this position as well. This is the battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Friddle did not look fast early on, but has come into his own here in the 70 car, fallen back, and all of a sudden finds himself back up into the top 5. Upper left of the screen, that's the top 2. The battle for the lead between Charles Zukowski and Joey Warren. Zukowski in the 31 from Riverhead, New York, and the 15 running in the 2nd spot, Joey Warren.
Tony Collinsworth, CJ Creech, Charles Friddle battling for third, fourth, and fifth. Lower right of your screen there, you see him now.
Halfway
home this time around. 10 in, 10 to go.
Top two have broken away, and that's not a bad move if you're Joey Warren, and not quite as impatient. Oh, there's one. Stopped up in the corner. I heard everybody yelling. I wasn't sure what they were yelling about. It's the 14 on the bottom of 3 and 4. Brandon Monroe, who was running in 6th the last time he came across the line, driver from Orlando, Florida.
I believe actually that's going to be Kenny Roth in the 14K car.
Yeah, there you go.
Again, multiple numbers. Got to love it.
So 10 in and 10 to go. Charles Zukowski is the leader. Joey Warren, I think the 15 might have something for him.
And we've seen a lot of movement on these restarts as well, Adam. Somebody generally gets a pretty good jump. As we stack them up 3 and 4 deep going down into 1, we'll have to see if Warren can make a run at it on this next attempt once we go back green flag racing.
Lining up on pit road, the group of Florida modifieds to get the 1 to go, and they start to double up already. I would guess that a lot of the Bomber A division drivers weren't even at the drivers meeting today when it took place, talking about the choose rule, etc.
I believe
definitely something new.
I believe we have done away with the choose rule.
We have in this race.
For the balance of this race.
Yeah.
Done away with the choose rule.
So the leader, Zukowski, in the 31.
Joey Warren alongside on the front row. Tony Collinsworth, CJ Creech back in row 2 as we get ready to come back to green.
They'll start picking up the pace. Pace cars now made its way to pit road in turn 4. Turn 4 come the cars. The green flag is waving. Back underway. The leader is Zukowski, but will he hold off Warren? How about this? 3-wide battle into turn number 1, locking up the tires. Collinsworth down on the apron of the racetrack. He's going to lose a spot, maybe more.
He had a really good jump on that restart, but just couldn't make it stick down into turn 1. And he jumped all over the brakes to keep off of Charles Zukowski there. And that really scrambled the field up behind. But here comes Zukowski with Joey Warren in that 15 car, battling for the lead. And CJ Creech in the number 27, trying to make it a 3-way battle for the lead.
Zukowski leading the way. Warren running in 2nd. Creech running 3rd. Collinsworth and Friddle the top 5. Collinsworth has a fast race car. The thing looked like it was about to step out the rear end of it going into 3, but it stuck, and he closed the gap on 3rd place. 8 to go.
Single file down into turns 1 and 2. Charles Zukowski with the lead. Joey Warren following in the footsteps. The tire tracks down the backstretch. CJ Creech, Tony Collinsworth, Charles Friddle rounding out your top 5. Collinsworth trying to get in there and give the bumper to Tony Collinsworth, or excuse me, to CJ Creech. Can't give the bumper to yourself.
Oh, Creech got a little sideways going into 1, but as you mentioned, sometimes he gets it sideways and it rotates the corner really well. It did there. Collinsworth up the track. Here comes the battle for 4th. Charles Friddle to the inside. Collinsworth taking it in the 2nd lane this time. That's a pretty fast 20 car, but these top 5 very equally prepared.
Now Friddle to the inside of Collinsworth. Collinsworth's car is extremely fast. It just doesn't look like it's predictable from one end of the racetrack to the next to where that car is going to want to go, and it pushes up the racetrack one more time there. And now Friddle trying to make that bottom side work as we're coming to 5 to go this time around. 5 laps remaining here in our Bomber A feature event.
5 to go. Signal shown by Ralph Miller as here comes the battle for 2nd. Creech looks to the inside. Car pushes up the racetrack. Didn't really lose much ground, though. We'll regroup and try to mount another challenge at 2nd place, Joey Warren. Creech, the 27 car from Orange City, Florida, coming off a championship season at New Smyrna Speedway. Would love to claim the only win during the World Series. For the Bomber A division, down to 4 to go.
Zukowski stretching out about a 3-car length advantage now off of turn 2. Joey Warren holding on to the 2nd position. CJ Creech, former champion here at New Smyrna Speedway in this division, lurking back in third. Top 5 cars, nose to tail off of turn 4. 3 laps to go.
Final 3 paces for Charles Zukowski, the driver from Riverhead, New York, leading the way, making the long-distance trip. I don't think he's a regular here. I don't think he makes that trip every week, but comes down during the course of the World Series to compete here. Most likely comes down as a race fan or whatever on normal basis. Thought I'll bring the race car with me this time. 2 to go.
Popsicle sticks from the flag stand. 2 to go this time around. 1 mile of racing remains for Charles Zukowski. Does Joey Warren have anything in the 15T? And now here comes the battle for third. Charles Friddle looking to the inside. CJ Creech to the outside. There's contact, and Friddle is around.
Friddle spins it up in turn number 4 and will bring out the yellow flag. Got to the inside there for the third position. Made a little contact with the left rear quarter of third place competitor CJ Creech, and around it went. And that was a good recovery from the 70 up to that point. Fell back early from that original start and then fought his way back through the field up, battling for the third spot. 2 to go, and now we're going to have a late race green-white checkered. That'll be crazy.
And these restarts, every single one of them, we've gone at least 3 wide on a restart. So, and one of the guys who has had every restart but one, he's been really, really strong. That guy, the number 20 car, Tony Collinsworth. See if he can make something happen on this 2-lap dash. And how about this? Eddie Evans, who brought out the initial caution flag all the way back on lap 1, has worked his way back up into a top 5 position now.
Field's starting to line up already. Don't count out the 20 car. Collinsworth, as we take a look at the Flow Racing replay, there is the 70 of Friddle, gets down maybe on the flat a little bit in 3, pushes up, got into the left rear of Creech, and there was no saving it at that point.
Collinsworth making a great evasive move right there, and how about that save CJ Creech made? He easily could have gone around and had to tag the tail end of the field for this restart.
Wind's dying down a little bit from what we had earlier today, with high gusts up around 30 miles per hour, and it was a solid wind the whole day long. And I'm sure everyone in the stands, the pits, and our camera operators looking forward to the wind to continue to drop, because it's a little chilly out there. It's definitely the coolest day we've had so far, about 20 degrees cooler than we've seen in recent days.
And that wind, it was 30 miles an hour all day long. Not gusty. It was just a stiff 30-mile-an-hour breeze all day.
Field already realigning, moving up into the top 5 now is the 3 of Eddie Evans. And we are 1 lap from seeing a green-white checkered finish. Zukowski in the silver car is the leader. Joey Warren's made some runs, has made some attempts, might be just as quick as Zukowski. Zukowski's been able to hold him off so far. This is a chance here for track champion Creech in the 3rd spot. Remember the last restart. Collinsworth in the 20 drove 3 wide, and then he got it loose down on the flat trying to make a bonsai move. Can he have another solid restart and try to get up there and challenge? He might drive to the outside here of Warren. Ready for the restart, turn number 4, and we're back underway.
Field coming up to speed, and we indeed are going to stack them 3 wide. Here comes CJ Creech to the bottom of the speedway. Charles Zukowski going to hold on that middle groove. He's going to keep that momentum. Now let's see what happens as we fan him out down the backstretch. Creech now jumping up into the 2nd position. We're going to stack them 2 and 3 wide, coming to the white flag. Creech is sideways, but he's going to take over that 2nd position. He's got 1 lap. Does he have enough time to get around Zukowski for the lead?
He's going to give it a try. Zukowski has done a great job so far at the front of the field. Creech, the track champion, trying to challenge. He's been able to get by Joey Warren. They race down to turn 3, making a final effort. Here comes Creech.
Charles Zukowski holding on to that top spot. He's going to hold off CJ Creech for the lead. Charles Zukowski looking at the checkered flag. He's going to go to victory lane. New York to Florida. Victory lane trip for Charles Zukowski.
Riverhead, New York driver Charles Zukowski claiming the win. There's Joey Warren getting up there to give a little bump to the 31 car. Hopefully just a celebratory bump there.
Looks like
I
that's
don't know
what
that
that
anything
was.
bad
Yeah.
happened there. They raced pretty clean at the front of the field. Got Matt Dillner here in the tower watching as part of the media. Very happy, excited with Flow Racing that a New York driver
I think he may
claims
be
the
a,
victory in a
he may
front-wheel
be a little
drive.
biased. We got a Long Islander in the house down here, so yeah, Dillner's a little biased here, but good to see someone making the 1,000-mile trip to head down to Victory Lane. And you think they're excited down there? How about that?
I would say so. I think that's the third-place competitor there. Joey Warren as a winner, Charles Zukowski. So we send it down to Victory Lane where Jesse Punch awaits the winner and the celebration.
You know it's a good win when even the guy that finished second is as excited for you as he is. Here he is, your Bomber A Division winner, Charles Zukowski. The New Yorker finds Victory Lane down here at New Smyrna Speedway. Charles, congratulations on the win. What's going through your mind right now?
I'm really happy that we got it in today and New Smyrna let us run. And, we came a long way and we wanted to race, so I'm happy about that. I got to thank, first off, John Bulow. He let us use his trailer to come down here. And I got to thank Chris Garcia, Aunt Mary, Mark, my grandmother, my mom, my dad, MK, everyone that helped us out. Big Joe, I got to thank him a lot. He works on the car. I just drive. He does all the work, so thank you.
You just drive, but you do it well. Congratulations on the win, Charles.
Thank you so much.
That's Charles Zukowski getting the Bomber A Division win here this evening.
Pretty impressive run there, and he held him off. He wasn't necessarily the fastest car, but man, he never made a mistake.
Smooth all night long. So good job to Charles Zukowski and that entire team making the long ride down from Long Island, New York, Riverhead.
CJ Creech, the second place car, the 27. The driver was the champion here at New Smyrna Speedway in 2022, claiming the point championship, one feature win as well, and came up very close there at the end. In fact, stuck his nose in there for a potential three-wide pass for the lead. That spot closed up and just couldn't mount another challenge to the 31 of Zukowski. As we send it down to our second place finisher, standing by with Jesse.
CJ Creech, second place tonight. A pretty aggressive race out there. We were seeing 3 wide on restarts. How do you describe the environment on the track tonight?
I got to say, these New York boys know how to bring it.
Were you satisfied with your particular run?
It was a pretty good run. The track was a little loose, but overall it was a good run. I don't think I would have got second without that last restart.
We saw you pretty excited there for the winner. What's the relationship?
Just talking to them throughout the weekend. They came all the way from New York, so I wanted to congratulate them, tell them they did a good run.
Awesome. Well, CJ, second place tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. I just also want to give a congratulations to my parents on another grandchild.
Congratulations to the Creech family all around. It's a good evening here at New Smyrna. CJ Creech, second place in the Bomber A Division.
Good run there for the 27 car.
And you think the racetrack was loose all night long. I think every time we saw the 27 car, he was about 20 degrees sideways. So I would indeed say the track was loose for CJ tonight. And hey, congratulations to their family on a new addition. That's a fantastic way to put a period on their week here at the World Series.
Joey Warren was all excited with that third place finish and brought out the team puppy here, I believe, as well. Jesse?
Place and Diesel as smiles for a podium finish. What's going through your mind crossing that finish line?
We've been coming out here for the last 2 years. Well, this is, we finished 4th, 5th, 6th. Finally, to come back and finish both one. The 31. That's one of my cars. We got 1 and 3 put on the podium. Can't ask for a better night than that. Just happy we finally got to be able to race after the rain delay and everything like that.
And Diesel, are you proud of your dad? That sounds like a yes to me. Congratulations on the podium finish.
Thank you.
Dog of little words there, Charlie.
I think my dog is about as talkative as that dog. Yeah.
Coming up next, Florida Modified 35-lap feature. Race number 3 of night 3 is next. Back at New Smyrna Speedway, 2 pretty exciting races in the books. Good competition for the only race of the week for the Bomber A division. A nice super late model race that went flag to flag to start their week just a little while ago. Those are the Florida Modifieds, and they have not raced yet this week. They've been scheduled to the last 2 nights. Tonight, it looks like they're going to take a green and hopefully eventually a checkered flag as well.
You know, Adam, I remember a couple of years ago, it was opening night for the super late models, and coming off of turn 4 to take the green, the entire field got wadded up. And a lot of damage done to pretty much almost every car in the field. And it's great to get that first feature event under our belts this week without a single caution, every car running at the finish. And that's hopefully a sign of good things to come throughout the rest of the week for that division. And, you know, we've mentioned it a couple of times, the big Clyde Hart Memorial coming up on Tuesday night. Almost 30 cars on that entry list, and some really big names on that entry list as well. Of course, William Byron, NASCAR Cup Series winner, has won some pretty big super late model races in the past, including the Clyde Hart Memorial last year, I do believe. And former Truck Series champion Johnny Sauter on that entry list, Bubba Pollard, Stephen Nasse. If you can come out and join us here at the racetrack, that would be a big one to come out and see in person. If not, join us right here on Flow Racing Tuesday night at 7:30. That should be a great 100-lap feature coming up on Tuesday night.
A lot of those big names racing on Tuesday evening. We'll also see about another month from now at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida for the first ever race of the ASA Stars National Tour Super Late Models. And the entries just started opening up a couple days ago. The entry blank did, and already double-digit cars scheduled for that race, and a lot of big names already entered for that March 11th event. The Florida Modifieds are on track right now. 35-lap feature they will run. 4 was the invert tonight, putting 4th fast qualifier on the pole, top qualifier in the 4th spot. And here is a look at the lineup. Alan Bruns, the veteran driver, in 4B, starting on the pole. We've seen him win after many years of World Series competition just a few years ago, claiming a feature victory during the week. Bill Burba, the 26 car, he's been outstanding in the past here in World Series competition. Bill Burba, car number 26, the 2021 World Series champion. Jerry Simons, many championships in the World Series, many feature wins for the 66, 46 Florida Modified wins at the World Series for the 66. And Cody Stickler driving the Doug Moff number 46. Quick time tonight. That's the man to beat.
Bill Burba turned 50 years old yesterday, and he will, as you said, Adam, start outside row number 1. So happy birthday, Bill. Timmy Moore will start inside row number 3, car number 15M. He's going to be alongside Wayne Parker in the number 1W in row number 3. Ricky Moxley in the number 38 car, starting 7th tonight alongside Travis Rowland in the 12.
Moving on to our next row, it's the car number 75 of George Helliwell. And on the outside, the number 16 of Brian Gayton. Then it's the 89 of Jimmy Crow Jr. and the 77 of Hunter Slayton. Rounding out our field, the 33 of Shane Held. Our starting lineup for tonight. We've had a handful more of these Florida Modifieds at times in practice over the last couple of days. Just some couldn't make it on a Sunday evening, but we'll see them throughout the week. So we could have some fields as long as we take pretty good care of these race cars tonight. Up close to 20 later this week for some of the special events.
And they've got a 75-lapper coming up, I believe, on Thursday night, if memory serves. And we usually do have a pretty big starting field for their special event. Alan Bruns, Bill Burba on the front row.
Bruns, the elder statesman of the field and maybe the World Series. 68 years of age. And he's been racing here for a long time in that kind of retro scheme looking car because it's still hand painted.
Yep.
Maybe not the gator on the nose, but the rest of it for sure is.
The car looks exactly the same as it does each and every year out here. Whoa.
Thought top qualifier there, Cody Stickler, was going to get into the back of Bill Burba. As we get ready to go green, coming off of turn number 4 this time, the New Smyrna Speedway pace car will head to pit road. Alan Bruns, the veteran driver in car number 4, brings the field to green.
Bruns started to pick up the pace well down the back straightaway as we're going to try to stack them 3 wide down into turns 1 and 2. Bill Burba going to use the top side of the racetrack to jump out into the lead. Cody Stickler, our quick qualifier, he's going to work to the top side of 1 and 2. Now dives to the bottom side in 3 and 4. The battle for the lead. Stickler to the inside of Bill Burba as they flash across the start-finish line to complete lap 1.
Burba officially leads lap number 1, but now Stickler takes the spot. We've got a spinner, Travis Rowland, and that will bring out the yellow after we complete the first lap down in turn number 1. He'll get back in gear and rolling again. Fortunately, no damage, it doesn't look like, to the number 12 car of Travis Rowland, but a scary moment there for the driver of the number 12 from Winter Haven, Florida.
So 1 in. And how about that start by Cody Stickler?
I would say he wasted no time in getting to the front.
Worked the top side down in 1 and 2 and then dove to the bottom side over there in turns 3 and 4. That car handling very well.
Jerry Simons took a peek to the inside on the front stretch on the start. I think he knew he might get boxed in there. And if the opening was there, he was going to fill it. He didn't try to make an opening in turn 1, or it could have been scary. Here's the Flow Racing replay. Cars toward the front in this spot, and it's Simons jamming on the brakes. And when Simons jams on the brakes, kind of got in the side of the 15 of Timmy Moore. And then there's the 33 of Held and the 12 car of Roland get together. That's all a racing deal right there.
Yeah, so the 12, Roland, saw what was happening in front of him, and he backed off. And looked like Shane Held didn't have anywhere to go when Roland rolled out of the gas, and they just ran out of room, and around went the number 12.
So we're going to choose this time. Let's see if they can successfully go around the arrow. Outside lane for the...
Oh.
Well, I think he pretty clearly was taking the inside.
Well, let's hope that that's how they interpret it.
And that's Stickler in the 46. Rolled a couple of tires in that vicinity of the arrow. Lights are going out. The leader is Stickler. Burba on the outside lane. Wayne Parker, pretty good opening start, is third, and he's had some good World Series runs. 10 World Series wins for the driving veteran from Mount Dora, Florida, inside of row 2. Outside of row 2 is Jerry Simons. Green flag is back out at the World Series.
Let's see if Cody Stickler can make the bottom side work down into turns 1 and 2.
Oh,
again. Field scattering.
Yeah, the one car of Wayne Parker gets into the side of Jerry Simons. We've seen them battle it out. Pretty heated battles over the years during the World Series, but Simons continued on. And he moves up into the second spot on that restart. The one of Parker didn't mean to get up into him. Got into turn 1 a little hot on the bottom. You see that sometimes. They push up. Fortunately, he got into the door, not the quarter panel, or it might have turned the 66 around.
Jerry Simons with a great restart there. He has worked his way past Bill Burba. There's Wayne Parker back in 4th. Timmy Moore holding on to the 5th position. There's a good battle for position right there. Alan Bruns, who started up on the front row, has dropped back to the 7th position. Ricky Moxley in this battle with Shane Held. This is the battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th on the Speedway.
Speedway veteran Ricky Moxley ready to make his move against fellow veteran, the 4B of Bruns. Shane Held following closely in the 33, coming to complete lap number 5.
Ricky Moxley trying to use the chrome horn there on Bruns to the center of the corner. Bruns doing a good job keeping the car right to the bottom side of the racetrack. These two drivers with a lot of experience here at New Smyrna Speedway over the years. And Shane Held just kind of waiting back there in that number 33 car, just waiting to see what happens between these two. The 33 car looks to be just a tick quicker than these two, but he's just going to need a little bit of an opening to work his way past.
Pro late model feature, the 35-lap event scheduled to go next as the battle continues between Bruns and Moxley for the 7th position. 6 laps down, 7 down at the line, nose to tail through 3 and 4. Bruns holding off Moxley. Held brings it off sideways in the 33. trying to keep up with these two drivers.
That car in a four-wheel drift off of turn 4. Nice save there by Shane Held. As we double box it, there's the battle. Not much of a battle up at the front of the field right now. Cody Stickler holding about a 10-car length advantage over Jerry Simons in second. They have about a half straightaway advantage over Bill Burba in third. This is the battle in the bottom right, Adam, right now. The battle between Alan Bruns, Ricky Moxley, and Shane Held for 7th, 8th, and 9th.
It is a tight battle. Moxley definitely quicker than the 4 of Bruns, but Bruns hasn't given up the bottom yet. If he ever vacates it, right there will be the 38 of Moxley to take advantage. He peeks to the outside down in the corner. Upper left of the screen, we were watching the leaders there momentarily. Stickler and Simons turning very equal lap times. 19.0s the previous time. That time Stickler a little bit quicker. But we watch again the 4B of Bruns, 38 of Moxley, 33 car of Shane Held. Oh, Held way up the track there in 1 and 2.
And Ricky Moxley trying to make the outside lane work, but couldn't get the power down. That car jumped sideways on him coming off of turn 2 right there. Did a good job keeping it off the outside wall. Didn't give up a lot of ground, though. He's still right there on the tail tank of Alan Bruns as they work their way through turns 1 and 2.
So close on the 75, just ahead of them, George Helliwell, who is 1 lap off the... No, he's actually on the lead lap, running in the 6th position. Pretty good run for the 75.
Here's the birthday boy, Bill Burba, holding on to the 3rd position in the number 26, the Platinum Express car. Wayne Parker in the 1W. This is a battle for 3rd and 4th on the racetrack.
Talked about it just a couple of years ago. The 26 of Bill Burba claiming the World Series Florida Modified Championship via consistency night after night, and some good runs as well, including a feature win. Bill Burba running in the 26 car. He's won 3 victories when it comes to the World Series, has Bill Burba tonight running 3rd.
And you mentioned George Helliwell just a couple of moments ago, and if you saw that little flash of a race car pulling down onto pit road, unfortunately that was George moments ago. George Helliwell giving up the 6th position to bring that number 75 car down onto pit road. Meanwhile, the battle still continuing on the racetrack. This battle continuing on the racetrack as well. Alan Bruns, Ricky Moxley, Shane Held still going at it for 7th, 8th, and 9th. The best battle on the racetrack.
I would say at some point or another, the 38 car of Moxley. Oh, there we go. Spin down in 1 and 2. Caution flag is out. The 16G of Brian Gayton has brought out the yellow. 19 laps to go. Make it 20. Officially 15 laps in. At the last completed lap in our 2nd yellow of the race. This one for the 15. Make it the 16G of Brian Gayton. Pretty clean racing there for the last 14 laps or so. And this guy is fast. Cody Stickler, but he's just about on average about a 10th quicker per lap than Jerry Simons. The lead was built up to 1.39 seconds. So we'll see how it is now that they'll restart side by side. They're wasting very little time of getting this one restarted as they're going to come to the choose cone and 1 to go this time. And last time, Cody Stickler might have been a little too close to that choose arrow on the front.
I think, as you said, it was very clear he was electing to restart from the bottom groove right there. So I don't think the officials held that against him. But
not this time.
Everybody giving that choose cone a lot of room on this attempt. No surprise, really, to see the drivers who have elected to go to the top side. All of the odd number positions went to the top side. All the even numbers went to the low side on that restart.
I like the choose in 1. They seem to be able to do that quickly, especially with a smaller field. If there are 30-some cars, it's going to be tough to do that. They do that on 2 to go instead of 1. But the pace car is dropping low here. 20 laps to go. The leader, Cody Stickler, outside lane. Jerry Simons inside. Stickler now gets up to speed. Will lead across the line, heading into 1 with 20 laps remaining.
And a little bumper tag right there. Bill Burba got into the back And Burba power sliding it through turns 1 and 2 that time. That car not handling it all on the restart. He's going to give up a lot of ground to the top 2 as Cody Stickler and Jerry Simons pick up where they left off. And we've got cars sideways down in turns 3 and 4.
Ricky Moxley, the 38. Shane Held in the 33. Both have gone around. Moxley right here in New Smyrna Beach, Florida driver, the 33. Shane Held from Orlando. A little bit of synchronized spinning with 20 laps from the finish. Pro late model 35 lap feature coming up next. So plenty of action on our schedule tonight for night 3 of the World Series. Then what could be a very wild 602 modified feature. What a field of those cars we have. Over 30 in the house this week. The E-Mod 30 lap feature to round out our program tonight.
It has been great to see that 602 modified field grow over the course of the last couple of seasons here. Kind of an experiment here a couple of years ago. There were, maybe a dozen and a half of those cars here to run a couple of nights back. I believe that was 2021 as we take a quick replay. Keep an eye on the right side of the screen. Keep an eye on that 38 car. That's Ricky Moxley. Ooh, and that car just jumped sideways. And he evidently got a little help there from Shane Held as Held went sideways as well.
Most likely both of those drivers will restart from the tail here.
Yeah, sometimes you got to put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4 on that, and I think that's exactly what happened right there. I think Shane Held.
So Jerry Simons actually had a pretty solid restart from the inside lane. Actually might have gone a tad bit down in the box before the 46, but he checked up, allowed the 46 to get up to speed, get across the finish line first. So they went down into turn 1. They went down in there side by side, and he actually didn't push up very much, trying to take the 46 of Stickler very high. But on the exit of 2, Stickler pulled back out front. So this time, if Simons gets that same opportunity, does he drive it in a little bit harder in turn 1, or is it still too early in the race to do that? 20 laps to go, but this could be our last restart.
Could be the last restart, his last opportunity to make it work. And Jerry Simons, again, a driver with a lot of experience here at this racetrack. He knows exactly what that car is going to do, whether he restarts from the bottom side or the top side. So I think we're going to see another aggressive restart from him. The question is, Adam, is Bill Burba in the 26, is he going to get a little bit better restart? He first got into Stickler and then spun the tires on that last restart. Gave up a lot of ground on the racetrack as we get back into that restart zone through 3 and 4. Green flag back up. Field back underway down into turn 1. Let's see what happens with Jerry Simons to the inside of Cody Stickler.
Simons again gives a little room to the outside. Didn't push up off the bottom very far. Back out front is Stickler in the 46. Simons follows in line. Burba, better restart this time. Just a couple of car lengths back. Then it's the 1 of Parker. 15 of Timmy Moore completing the top 5. First battle is for 6th.
Jerry Simons following the tire tracks of Cody Stickler through turns 1 and 2. 1 car length. The gap up at the front of the field. They've got about a 4 or 5 car length gap over Bill Burba in 3rd. Stickler leading the way off of turn 4 as we approach the midway point of our 35 lap feature event for the Florida Modifieds, the first feature event of the week. Mother Nature running some interference on this division the first couple of nights of the World Series here this year.
Going to be 18 down and 17 to go as the crossed flags are shown by Ralph Miller, the starter. The top 2 in a breakaway. Stickler just a little bit better. Here's a battle for the 4th position. Wayne Parker has it. We've talked about Wayne Parker in the past and all that motor in the number 1 car. He pulls him down the straightaway. And then Timmy Moore battles back through the corners, closes the gap, only to give it up again down the straightaway. But this is 4th and 5th on the screen.
Timmy Moore, a perennial contender and top 5 finisher here. Almost each and every night we run the Florida Modifieds here throughout the World Series. Very consistent driver in that number 15.
We've seen Timmy Moore pick up a World Series championship back in 2015 when he was driving the black 57 car. He's picked up 6 wins in World Series competition. So those are 2 of the top World Series contenders each and every year running just inside the top 5. 15 to go, make it 14 this time for that guy right there in the 46 car, Cody Stickler. We know he's a wheelman, and just in the last year or so started driving the 46 for Doug Moff, and since then the two have paired up for some very good runs, including tonight where he's trying to hold off one of the best in World Series history, Jerry Simons, the 66.
Adam, before we had that little spate of yellow fever right there, you had mentioned that Cody was about a tenth of a second per lap quicker than Jerry Simons on average, and it looks like kind of getting back into that rhythm. He's stretching that gap out ever so slightly each and every time around, and right now that gap, 0.6 of a second between Cody Stickler and Jerry Simons in second as they work around the Brian Gayton automobile down the backstretch. And there you see him just continuing to slowly inch away from Jerry Simons. 11 laps remaining this time around.
Final 11 paces for Cody Stickler, hanging on to the race lead and in fact building upon it. Driver from Pinellas Park, Florida, 29 years old, has picked up 4 wins and World Series history. Was not normally a full-time World Series competitor. We'd see him a couple races here and there. Would run normally just the special events, but looks like he's in this one for the duration. He's picked up 5 Mods of Mayhem wins as well, has Cody Stickler in his career. 9 laps remaining, and he has a comfortable lead right now, and that car doesn't look to be out of shape at all.
Cody Stickler, that car on rails as he continues again just to slowly inch away from Jerry Simons in the number 66. 8 laps to go this time around for Cody Stickler and that number 46. Bill Burba holding on to third, Wayne Parker fourth, Tim Moore in fifth.
That time just about 0.3 quicker was Stickler than Simons, so Simons set up maybe going away a little bit as the 46 of Stickler leads the way and pulls away, and that time it was about 2.5 quicker. So definitely pulling away out front is Cody Stickler. That's a good sign for that car. Long distance runs, it is strong.
And again, everything kind of leading up to that 75 lapper later on in the week, and Cody Stickler looking like that car is going to be stout as we get deeper into the World Series activities for this division as the week goes on. Looking at the bottom right of our screen, a couple of ill-handling automobiles right there off of turn 4. Alan Bruns and Shane Held, both almost independently bouncing off the outside wall there off of turn 4 that time around, as laps starting to wind down here in our 35-lap Florida Modified feature event.
Nose to tail, Bruns and Held. 7th and 8th they run. Lower right of the screen. Up front, they've separated. The gap continues to grow between Cody Stickler and Jerry Simons. Simons' lap that time just about identical to Stickler's, but he's built up his advantage to half a straightaway or more. 3 to go this time for the Floridian.
You know, this is that point in the race where, you know, you want to kind of take care of your equipment and you want to kind of pace yourself. But as a driver, if you're in Cody Stickler's position, you don't want to break your momentum. You don't want to break your routine. You want to keep doing exactly what you've been doing. He's going to keep dropping the hammer, and he's going to keep putting a little bit of a gap on Jerry Simons as we come to 2 to go this time around. 2 laps remaining for Cody Stickler.
Takes the high entry into turn number 1, drops it across to the bottom lane on the exit of turn 2. He has a nice line all the way around this track. It's differing down in 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4, where he runs right along the bottom in 3 and 4. 1 final lap to go for the Pinellas Park, Florida driver, Cody Stickler.
Off of turn 2, down the backstretch. Just a slight wiggle off of turn 2 right there for Cody Stickler, but he's going to drive it off into turns 3 and 4. No pressure from behind. Checkered flag from Ralph Miller at the flag stand. Cody Stickler picking up the victory in our 35-lap Florida Modified feature event.
Jerry Simons takes second. Bill Burba, Wayne Parker, Timmy Moore the top 5. Ricky Moxley takes 6th. Alan Bruns 7th. Shane Held 8th. Brian Gayton 9th. And Hunter Slayton takes position number 10. Pretty clean race for the Florida Modified. Just a couple of yellows there around the middle portion of the event. The one that took place after lap 1 as well. But all these cars in good shape and should be ready for their next night of competition, as to victory lane with his 5th career World Series victory, the 29-year-old Cody Stickler brings it to victory lane. Second spot, Jerry Simons. Third spot, Bill Burba. Good point runs for those three. We've seen Simons claim championships here. We've seen Burba claim a championship. We've yet to see Cody Stickler claim a World Series championship, but he starts as the favorite after that run tonight. Stickler with the Moff Racing team, number 46. Get ready to celebrate here in Victory Lane. As we send it down to Victory Lane, here's Jesse Punch.
He's climbing out now. Cody Stickler is your Florida Modified winner here this evening at New Smyrna Speedway. Confidently waving that checkered flag, Cody, congratulations on the win. You were really pulling away with it there during that final green flag stretch. At what point tonight were you confident that you had this race won?
There at the beginning, really, when we pulled away 6-7 car lengths, we're just trying to hold our gap there and make sure we have something at the end if we had a late caution or something.
So first run of the weekend or of the week, then what kind of confidence do you have then now moving forward after this win?
We're pretty confident. We've been good in practice the past few days and definitely really happy with it tonight. So we're looking forward to the rest of the week.
So no changes?
I don't think so. It's pretty good.
I think it's pretty good when it's here in Victory Lane. Congratulations on the win, Cody.
Thank you.
Great run for Cody Stickler claiming the victory here tonight. Jerry Simons, anytime you can hold off a driver who's won 46 World Series wins in a Florida Modified, I think you've done something pretty stout.
You've earned your pay.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's Jerry Simons, who's with Jesse Punch down in the second place position.
Jerry, second place to start the week here. Are you satisfied with your start here at the World Series?
I am. I'm satisfied with it. This is kind of a brand new car, brand new clip. Lee Falk Race Cars helped us with a clip and everything, and a lot of people helped us to get here. But I'm really satisfied. This is actually the first race on this car. We've been practicing all week and qualifying, but getting rained out. But we're pretty happy. We're gaining on it every day and getting a little better. Got to thank all my sponsors, Gene Kelly Roofing. I got a bunch of them. Southeast Dewater and Dave's Sand and Gravel. He's out of Maine. He comes down here every year and helps us buy tires so we can do this all week long because it's a lot of money for tires. Let's see. I got another Davis Construction Services. He's new on the car, so got to look back there and check him out. And my crew, BFE, Burkhalter Fabrication and Engineering, they help us every year when they come down here, and I got to thank all them guys, my crew, and my wife. Thank my wife. She'll be mad if I don't, so we thank her.
Gotta thank the wife. That's Jerry Simons bringing home a new race car here in second place tonight.
We've seen Jerry Simons in recent years, despite all of those World Series wins, kind of struggle at times, but I think he's pretty happy with second place on their first race of the week. He's got a little fine-tuning to do, not way off the paces we've seen at times the last couple of years.
And it's interesting. That's Jerry Simons when he's happy.
Yes, he was thrilled.
he was absolutely thrilled with his runner-up finish tonight.
Third place finisher was Bill Burba, a champion just a couple years ago. He's with Jesse Punch.
Bill, first modified run here of the week, and you know what it takes to win the championship here. So now that you've had some track experience, what are your takeaways from tonight?
This little car a little snug tonight. We worked on this thing for 2 days, and just keep digging at it little by little. We'll figure it out. It's just, like I said, we finally got a night in. Now we can go work on the car from there.
A podium finish to start. Are you confident then that you can gain some positions here as the week goes on?
Yeah, hopefully I can. But Stickler's really good, and so is Jerry Simon. So I got my work cut out for me for the rest of the week.
That's Bill Burba, third place tonight.
Fifth win for Stickler at the World Series. Jerry Simons, 15th straight top 10 at the World Series, including 12 in the top 5. So he has had some great runs here as of late. Coming back around is Jerry Simons in that 66. Plenty more racing coming up. The Pro Late models. We've scrapped intermission because of the cooler conditions. You see them lining up. They're next on Flow Racing. Pro late models lining up down on pit road. The Florida Modified post-race celebrations have finished up, and we are moments away from seeing a 35-lapper that could be a little wild, but I think, hey, tonight, after last night, flawless. Caution-free, green to checkered.
Well, if we make it to turn 2 tonight, we will have gone farther than we did last night. But, yeah, let's hope we go 35 laps green to checkered, because last night was a little rough for this group.
So they were scheduled to race Friday night. They got rained out. They raced last night. It was a field of like 30 cars. They were antsy. It's their first night of the World Series, and it's a lot of very young drivers, teenage competitors in this pro late model division, many of which have never raced here at the World Series.
A lot of youth and enthusiasm in this division, that is for sure.
So a few more drivers waiting on them to show up. They must not have known their race was next. I think they did. They were taking some time. They were probably staying warm by the fires down there in the pits. We had a few that were tore up pretty badly last night. One of those was the 47 of Stroop, and that happened in practice yesterday. Yeah. And I talked to his spotter, John Turner, and it is a backup car that Dakota Stroop has gone to. And I guess last night, and I would have to look back at my race monitor to prove this, but I think they turned one of the fastest laps of the race with that backup car.
And I think the plan yesterday for Dakota Stroop was to come out and stay out of traffic, stay out of any type of real racing situation, just get some laps on that backup car and kind of figure out a setup for the rest of the week. And once we got into some open racetrack for him, he did have some pretty good laps, and he should have a pretty good chance at racing competitively here tonight. But there were a lot of damaged race cars last evening, including, I believe, the defending World Series champion, who barely made it past the start-finish line on the opening start before he got wadded up here.
Yeah, it was Michael Hind, and he starts 15th tonight with a backup car. So backup car for backup car for Stroop. They start 14th and 15th. I believe Gavin Boschel in the 5. They reportedly fixed their race car after a hard crash early on.
And I believe I saw somewhere online that's Gavin's birthday today. 15 years old, Gavin Boschel. So happy birthday to him.
So that is a fact that we said earlier, that Dakota Stroop was the fastest lap of the Pro Late Model feature with that backup car last night. He starts, as I mentioned just moments ago, outside of row number 7. We've got a large starting lineup, so let's go ahead and take a look at it, Charlie. We've got Katie Hettinger on the pole in the 81 car. She qualified in the 7th position. The invert was 7. She starts on the pole. Carson Brown in the 25 will start 2nd. Brent Cruz starts 3rd. Had a good run last night in the 24. Chase Johnson, the top qualifier last night, starts in position 4.
Hunter Wright had a great run last night coming from the back after an engine change. He's going to start 5th this evening, a lot closer to the front of the field. He's going to start inside last night's winner, Connor Jones. Qualified 2nd tonight. He will start 6th. Quick qualifier, Ryan Luza will start from the 7th position. A lot of 7s right there. 7th place start for driver the number 77, Ryan Luza. He will start to the inside of, it looks like, Charlie Keevan in the number 55.
A very young row number 5 has the 88D of TJ DeCara, 16-year-old driver starting 9th. Starting 10th on the outside of row number 5, the number 5 of 15-year-old Gavin Bushell. On the next row, we've got row 6. It's the 26 of Dawson Sutton, another young driver from Nashville area, and the 00 of Jimmy Renfrew Jr., starting 12th.
Two-time ARCA Menard Series winner Gus Dean will start from the 13th position in car number 56. Dakota Stroop to his outside. And defending World Series champion Michael Hind in the backup car. He's going to start 15th tonight alongside Mitch
Haver,
Haver in the number 7.
The 08 of Nicholas Noggle starts in the 17th position. Starting 18th is Corey Luciano in the 94. Ryan Camish in the 42 will start inside of row number 10. And starting 20th, the 00W of Jeremy Wharf.
Gil Linster in the number 1X car will start from the 21st position.
Driver from Luxembourg.
How about that? Luxembourg. He might get the longest commute award.
Yes.
not from Luxembourg, Kentucky. I believe this is the Luxembourg in Europe.
That is
by
correct.
the way. TJ Monroe starting outside row number 11. Jeff Johnston starting 23rd tonight alongside Crash Johnny Aramendia in the number 58 car.
Tony Breidinger in the number 1 starts 25th. 26th place started the veteran Kent Ballage in the 61. John White's in the 99 starts 27th. And Glenn's Tires and the rest of his car too. The 0 will start 28th.
Rounding out our 30-car starting field, Mike Mayberry in the number 45 and David Weaver in the number 11. So 30 cars. We're going to go to 35 laps. The distance tonight, you know, despite the fact that we've been rained out one night and did race yesterday.
We didn't really get rained out. We had a race we got in on Friday night. We got a little taste,
this division,
a dabble.
This division got rained out.
There we go.
But Katie Hettinger was incredibly fast in practice and qualifying both of those days. Fast in practice on Friday, was fast again in practice on Saturday, but had a clutch issue that prevented her from qualifying. Just needed a little bit of luck to fall her way, and she had it in qualifying here today. Qualified 7th. Invert was 7. She's going to start P1 tonight, and
she's got a car that is very capable.
Exactly.
Speed-wise, she's been very good in practice. Had the bad luck because of the clutch. She got stuck at the back of the field last night, got caught up in that opening lap crash. They went in and all kinds of tape over the nose piece of that car, came out, and still came through the field, had a great run going until she made some contact late in the race and looped it around trying to steer off of the driver she made contact with. She could very well end up in victory lane at the end of this 35-lapper. Led a lot of laps at Speedfest at Watermelon Capital Speedway at the end of January.
She is the all-time winningest female driver in the history of Hickory Motor Speedway, and of course Hickory, a long, rich history of that racetrack there in Hickory, North Carolina. So Katie Hettinger, certainly the real deal. Just 16 years of age, as we see some chilly spotters up on the spotter stand here tonight.
They're bundled up, that's for sure. The last couple nights would be in shorts and short sleeve shirts. Right on the right side of the screen, he just looked at us. Was Travis Braden there, spotting up on the roof.
Newest member of the Hendrick Motorsports team as well. Travis just hired on to serve as a mechanic on the Alex Bowman car. So congratulations to Travis, 2-time CRA Super Series champion. Good to see Travis here.
Getting the couple of extra laps to get some heat in the tires. A large field of cars again on track. It looks like of the 30 cars that were scheduled to start, 29 of them are out there. I don't see the Michael Hines 69 on the Speedway, so maybe electing to not start this event. Michael Hines in car 69, of course, went to a backup car after the crash last night, maybe focusing on super late model competition after winning the championship at the World Series for Prolates this season, or a season ago. So Katie Hettinger and Carson Brown, the front row starters. You look at all of the teenagers in the top 7. Very young. Katie Hettinger, Carson Brown is there, young driver, Brent Cruz, Chase Johnson, Hunter Wright's in his 20s, Connor Jones is there, teenage competitor, Ryan Luza in his 20s. This class is full of youth and inexperience, but some pretty talented race car drivers. The thing is, sometimes patience isn't there for them. They want to win it. They want to win it fast.
Absolutely. My grandparents used to always tell me when I was a kid, you can't win the race on the first lap, but you sure can lose it. Some of these drivers, they don't subscribe to that philosophy. They want to win on lap 1. So we'll see what happens once we drop the green here. I have a feeling after last night, we're going to see a little bit calmer start tonight. Maybe see some of that aggression come out later in this 35-lap feature. But my gut instinct tells me tonight we're going to see a little bit calmer start here tonight.
Well, I hope your gut feeling is right. As we get the 2 to go, we double up. Next time by, we'll get the 1 to go signal. Katie Hettinger in the 81. We'll try to jump out front. Again, that outside lane, a good place to be on the front row as well as row number 2 on starts and restarts here. It's more noticeable when it's the restarts, and the leader gets to choose that second lane up front.
And again, these cars a little bit down on power compared to the super late models, more momentum based. And again, you get a lot more momentum from the top side of the racetrack. And there's familiar looking face, Ralph Miller, giving the 1-to-go signal here at start finish. Ralph been waving the rags for a long time, probably almost a quarter of a century here at New Smyrna Speedway. Good to see him back with us for yet another go around here at the World Series.
Look at the teams that make up the first 3 spots. Katie Hettinger with the Anthony Campy Racing team, the Rackley War team starting second, and the Donnie Wilson Motorsports team starting third. That's about the best of the best when it comes to racing in late models and super late models. Coming to green off of turn number 4 underway for the pro late models, and Brown started to close the door. Hettinger still peeking to the inside in 1 and 2.
Carson Brown with a great start. He's going to jump out to the lead. Katie Hettinger going to have her hands full down the backstretch. Chase Johnston as we got a car sideways down in turn 1. Glenn Stiers getting turned sideways.
So we will have a complete restart. No laps in, 35 laps to go. And another opportunity maybe for Katie Hettinger to have a little bit better of a restart and try to stay alongside with a 25 going into that first turn. She fell back a little bit there.
Tough break for Glenn Stiers, but a great break for Katie Hettinger to have this caution on the initial start. Now the question that I have, so this will be a complete restart. Can Katie, should she want to do this, could she elect to restart from the top side of the racetrack?
I don't believe so in this situation. It's an invert, so it's a little different than a fast qualifier, so they can't choose because of the 7 invert. If it was fast qualifier at the front, would be a little different. They would be able to choose.
Because we've been talking about it all week, the top side of the racetrack, and it was very evident on that start. Chase Johnson with just a great start there, jumping out into the lead. Katie struggling to get the power down in that 81 car on that initial start.
So nearly 30 drivers have made the call for this feature event. Glenn Stiers, who spun there in turn 1 and 2, had finished 10th last night, had missed one of the big wrecks down on our front straightaway after a restart, and end up finishing solidly in the top 10 from deep in the pack. Going to have to do the same thing here tonight. Actually have one stopped, and I think as it's the 7 car on the back straightaway.
Looks like he may have got up into the outside wall a little bit as he was trying to keep some heat in the tires.
Added a little bit to the sidewall as Mitch Haver pulls away from the backstretch, and that puts the yellow back out as they were coming to 1 to go. They've waved that off. The lineup's pretty well ready to go, at least toward the front. Maybe we'll see the 1 to go this time. The leader, the pole sitter, Katie Hettinger. No laps in and 35 laps from the finish in the pro lates. We have 2 more features left after this one.
Katie Hettinger, the granddaughter of 2-time ARCA midget champion. And yeah, ARCA used to sanction a midget division. ARCA midget champion Jim Hettinger. Name very familiar to some folks who remember Thursday Night Thunder. Wasn't always one of the competitors up near the front of the field back in the early Thunder days, but Jim Hettinger certainly was a familiar name to some of us Thunderheads back in the day. So good to see Katie carrying on the family tradition here as she once again lines up to the inside. And I said this was Chase Johnson. That's incorrect. That is indeed Carson Brown in the 25 car starting alongside. Brent Cruz, Chase Johnson back in row 2. Hunter Wright, Connor Jones bringing them back to green. 35 laps to go in our pro late model feature event.
Connor Jones outside of row number 3, as you mentioned, our winner last night in the pro lates, had a dominant effort. Can he come from 6th to do it tonight? Outside lane moving forward. Johnson pushes up a little bit in that second row. Hettinger will drop into line, but here comes Johnson to the high lane of Hettinger. Second spot is up for grabs.
Katie Hettinger with a better start that time, but couldn't get up into that outside groove to get that momentum wound up in that Anthony Campy number 81 car. Now Hettinger trying to hold on to that 3rd position as she slots in between Chase Johnson and Connor Jones. Connor, last night's winner, working the top side of the racetrack off of turn 4.
Connor Jones looking for that opening. If she goes back to the bottom in 1 and 2, might be able to do it. But here also comes Cruz in the 24 fighting back to the low lane. The battle for the 4th spot is Brown, Johnson, Hettinger get away single file. 4th, 5th, side by side. That is Cruz and Wright. Now joining the battle as well in the 29.
Some of the most talented young race car drivers in the country on your screen right now. Brent Cruz in the number 24, the Donnie Wilson Motorsports entry. Connor Jones. Hunter Wright in the number 29. Hunter, a regular competitor at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, as they work their way off of turn 4. Ooh, I thought Connor Jones was going to get a handful of outside wall right there. He did a good job keeping that car off the fence.
Had that look to it as they really bring that fast-paced slide up there and hope it grabs just in time to keep him down the straightaway in the right direction. Johnson comes close that time up against the wall. We saw him do it last night on the last lap coming for the final pace around New Smyrna Speedway. Got the car back together, looks strong tonight. Second place with Hettinger fighting to the inside.
Hettinger really working hard to the bottom side of the racetrack, and this is where we saw her get in trouble last night with just a couple of laps to go, fighting hard for position down to the bottom side of the racetrack. That car working really well now to the bottom side. Now that the tire temperatures and the tire pressures have come up, Katie Hettinger really strong to the bottom side of the racetrack. Side-by-side battle for second. Hettinger putting the nose out front. Can she take that spot from Johnson off of 4?
But Johnson really slides it up to that wall just about each and every time. He found how wide it was last night. He falls into the 3rd position. Cruz running in 4th. Right behind him, the 29 of Hunter Wright up front, your leader. The 25 of Carson Brown. Driver from Virginia in the Rackley War Racing number 25 ride. As Hettinger in the 81 trying to close the gap. It's still heated there. This is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Hunter Wright. Connor Jones now has dropped into line after fighting the outside lane for a while. Kind of fell back into 6th after picking up a spot or two. They all misjudged the turn. They follow the car in front of them. And when they're watching the car, they follow them up. All of a sudden, if one gets out of line and steps out too far, the next 3 or 4 do the same exact thing.
And they all just about bounced her off the outside wall, just like Hunter Wright did in the 29 car. And here now is the battle for the lead. Katie Hettinger getting into her rhythm. She has tracked down Carson Brown at the front of the field. Hettinger on the move in the number 81.
We knew this car was fast. We've seen it in practice. We saw it come from the back of the field last night, despite damage. Getting up into the top 5 in a battle late going before looping it around on the final paces. But Hettinger is there for the race lead. Brown has it. Hettinger wants it. The 81 car. One of the graduates from the CRA Junior Late Model Series just a couple of years ago. Spent a lot of time racing a little further south this year. Katie Hettinger from Dryden, Michigan, 15 years of age, going for the lead with Carson Brown up front.
Working around Glenn Stiers in that number 0 car. Not going to be a top 10 night tonight for Glenn, unfortunately, in that 0 car. And now here comes Katie in the 81. Looked like she was going to try to turn down to the inside off of turn 4, but she indeed falls back into the tire tracks of Carson Brown through turns 1 and 2.
Lower right of the screen is Chase Johnson leading a 3-car battle. It's Johnson in 3rd, Brent Cruz in 4th, Hunter Wright in 5th. Wright went to a backup car yesterday because they had engine issues with the primary. They thought about changing the engine. They didn't. They went to the backup car instead. They had a decent run. They stayed with it for today. He's at the tail end of the top 5, but looking to move forward. Upper left. Lead battle continues.
Sometimes it's easier to change the car than change the engine, and that's indeed what Hunter Wright and his team did yesterday in the backup car, running extremely well as he tried to work his way to the inside of Brent Cruz to take over that 4th position. And Hunter Wright, all kinds of sideways there through turns 1 and 2. You see that battle to the bottom right. Top left of your screen, Katie Hettinger still putting all kinds of pressure on Carson Brown in the battle for the lead.
Closing on the halfway mark, we've completed the first 16 laps. Hunter Wright got sideways the previous lap in 1 and 2 because he made a little contact into the door of the 24 of Brent Cruz. The one boxed in right now, lower right of the screen, is Connor Jones looking for an opening, thinking about 3 wide. Might be too early for that, but he knows he's got to go eventually or he's going to be boxed in forever. They continue to battle lower right. Hettinger, as we noticed just moments ago, was going for the lead. There it is, 3 wide into the corner. Will it work? Connor Jones makes it stick. Hunter Wright checks up as Jones goes for a 2-for-1, can't quite get it.
I think Brent Cruz owes Hunter Wright a Christmas card later on in the season, because Hunter Wright rolling out of the gas really saved Brent Cruz right there. Inevitably was going to be some contact there if Hunter didn't back out of the gas. It's really hard for me to decide which battle to watch here, Adam.
Both.
We've got a great battle for the lead, a great battle for position for third, fourth, and fifth, as Carson Brown kind of weaving his way through traffic, and Katie Hettinger stalking him every inch of the way. In this battle for third, fourth, and fifth, the intensity level growing lap by lap. 15 laps to go this time around.
Hunter Wright, lower right of the screen again, challenging the 24 of Cruz. Hettinger in the upper left of the screen has again caught Carson Brown at the front of the pack. Her car a little bit quicker. Hasn't been able to pull alongside yet. She's waiting for the right chance. As now Hunter Wright will move by Brent Cruz, will take that position away and moves up to fifth. Connor Jones just ahead in fourth, is starting to put a little gap on those two. Ryan Luza, the top qualifier tonight in the 77, involved in that battle as well.
Things kind of settling down momentarily, that battle for third, fourth, fifth, and on back. And right now, Katie Hettinger still, you see that battle top left of your screen. Hettinger just inches off the back bumper of Carson Brown through turns 1 and 2. Ooh, we're stacking them 2 and 3 wide down the backstretch through lap traffic.
One of them, Kent Ballage in the 61, Johnny Aramandia in the 58 there, as well as there goes Hunter Wright to the inside of Ballage. They were able to weave their way through. 12 laps remaining in this one.
Battle for the lead top left. Katie Hettinger still following in the tire tracks of Carson Brown as they circulate around. 11 laps remaining. Some lap traffic directly in front.
Oh, lower right.
Ooh.
Tough one there. 0 of Stiers had some contact from the 55 of Keevan. We saw tire smoke. They continued on. A scary moment as the battle continues. 10 laps remaining up front for the lead. Brown holding off Hettinger.
Hettinger's car looks like it is every bit as fast, if not just a tick faster than Carson Brown, but she doesn't have the drive off the corner to be able to turn that car down and underneath and get underneath Carson Brown. He's doing a good job playing defense here tonight as well, because he's keeping a car that is slightly faster than him behind him. Carson Brown doing a good job as we are now inside 10 to go in our 35-lap Pro Late Model feature event.
We watch Connor Jones in fourth, Hunter Wright in fifth. They're lower right on the screen, and now Hettinger is mounting another challenge at the leader, Carson Brown. 8 laps remaining. Clear racetrack ahead. It's up to the top two, all by themselves. No lap cars to contend with, and here she goes for the lead.
Finally was able to get that power down on the inside, side-by-side battle for the lead. Katie Hettinger to the inside. Carson Brown to the outside. Dead heat at the line.
Boy, she used up a lot of track. Thought she was going to make contact. She did not. She clears. Carson Brown for the number 1 spot. Katie Hettinger out front has taken the lead. We've got one slow in the front stretch. The 94 will bring out the yellow flag, and we'll see how the last completed lap works. And Carson Brown, last time by the line, was the leader, and that's probably going to put Hettinger back in the second spot. This one not over yet. 7 laps to go.
And you talk about last completed lap. By 6 1/1000ths of a second, Carson Brown was scored as the leader as we completed lap 28, which is the last completed lap.
What a great race to this point. 28 laps down. The Pro Late Model competitors, the youth of racing right now, putting on a heck of a show. 30 cars on the racetrack for a 35-lap sprint to the finish, and it's been outstanding to this point.
You know what was interesting there, Adam, is what was watching Katie, and you could see her just kind of working it out. You could see her trying to figure out where that car was going to be able to turn. Let's take a look. And we talked about this last completed lap rule. That's what 6 1/1000ths of a second looks like. There is the plane of the start-finish line being broken on the left side. Inches, just inches, separating Katie Hettinger from the lead on this restart. But you can see her working that out for laps and laps and laps. How am I going to be able to get this car down underneath Carson Brown, and she finally figured it out and put that power down.
She kind of waited until they got through all of the traffic. She was just following the 25 of Brown through all of the slower cars at the back of the field, biding time, using some patience, knew she had time to do it, and with 7 laps to go, she drove to the inside and made the move. She's got the car to do it. The 81 car, bad fast here all week long so far, and a chance to prove it tonight. 7 to go, 3rd spot, Chase Johnson, last night's top qualifier. And look who could end up in the money spot. Maybe not. Johnson might most likely will take the outside lane, but I would not allow that 44 car of Connor Jones to take that 4th position, because he's going to be in 2nd real quick.
Absolutely. Connor Jones has a very fast race car. Any one of those cars in the top 5 or 6 could, in theory, be a race-winning race car. Just the way this track position has worked out tonight, every one of those cars is probably as strong as the next one. But right now, Carson Brown, Katie Hettinger hoping to get a good clean restart and settle it amongst themselves. They've been the dominant force tonight.
7 laps to go. Big weekend racing, of course, here in Florida each and every year. 9 nights of racing in a row at New Smyrna Speedway for the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. We're right about in the middle of night number 3. First 2 nights, both were rain shortened. We got to see racing both nights, and in fact, a NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour 200 lap race last night that will go down in history as one of the better races you'll see.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about it. It's certainly in my top 5, and it could be top 1 or 2. That was one of the best races I have seen, certainly in a very long time. The amount of lead changes we saw within the final 10 laps of that one, and great to see a guy like Ronnie Silk go to victory lane. Good for him. Good for the Whelen Modified Tour, and I think the fans certainly left here tonight, or left last night, getting their money's worth. What a tremendous, tremendous show we had here last evening.
Still waving the yellow is Ralph Miller. Not time to double him up yet. Double checking the lineup all the way back through the field of the officials here. Receiving word from the pits. The 94 slowed down on the straightaway because of a power steering issue. Must have also affected the gas pedal.
Sometimes when the power steering goes out, these things are a handful to have to wrestle around.
Not fun.
Not fun.
7 from the finish. We're trying to patiently await, but we want to see more of this. And here's our 2 to go and choose at the line. Most likely the leader Brown will take the outside. There's the arrow. He will go to the outside. Hettinger will go to the inside. Good move there. There's Johnson taking outside, so Jones goes to the inside. Hettinger's capable. If she gets a decent enough restart on that inside lane, she needs to at least try to stay in line after a lap or so with Carson Brown.
Well, that's where she took the lead, was the bottom side of the racetrack. So this could work out in her favor. We'll have to see how it plays out once we go back green flag racing. But Katie Hettinger had found a way to get that car to work to the bottom side of the racetrack, so this might be exactly what she was looking for here. We'll get the 1 to go this time around. Lights out on the pace car. Ralph Miller signifying with the furled green flag. We will go back racing for the final 7 laps next time around.
You know what we have next? 35 lap feature. Oh, less than that. It's actually a little bit of a shorter distance race for the 602 modifieds. It's actually a 25 lap race and a huge field of cars getting ready to go.
One of the most anticipated features of the week for me. I love that division. They have really, really grown that class, and it's quickly joined one of the headlining divisions here of the World Series.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be on the same page up front.
Oh.
All right, so they have told the 25 needed to get up there with the 81, and he didn't, but they're giving the 1 to go. A warning has come because they had to wave off the green flag that they were coming to, and Carson Brown was laying back.
Sometimes you want to ice the kicker, and I think that's what Carson was doing right there. Sometimes you want to play a little head games with your competition.
That was a huge break for Brown, too.
Yep.
That yellow flag came at the perfect time to give him another opportunity because Hettinger was about to run away with it, I think.
He knows that that's his only chance. That car to the inside is a little bit quicker. Sometimes you want to start playing some head games, and let's see how it plays out here on the restart. Field now picking up the pace through turns 3 and 4. Carson Brown on the hammer. Katie Hettinger down to the inside. Can she make it work down into turns 1 and 2? This is where she took the lead.
Good restart for Hettinger off the second corner. Down the backstretch. Great run off of turn 2 for Carson Brown. Hettinger drives into 3. Keeps it glued to the bottom. Here comes last night's winner.
Yeah.
Connor Jones is
contact.
there. 3-car battle for the lead with 6 to go.
Here comes Connor Jones now trying to fill the gap to the bottom side of the racetrack. Hettinger going to drift it up. She's going to hold on to second, but now she's got to get back on the horse and try to track down Carson Brown, as we saw Casey Johnson with problems through turns 1 and 2.
Takes a few laps for that 81 of Hettinger to get up to speed, and right now that's showing as here comes Jones to the inside. Last night's winner and the last 2 years was runner-up in Pro Late Model World Series standings. Connor Jones looking to make a statement to start the week, but Hettinger holds him off in 3 and 4. 4 to go at the line.
Good battle for second. Connor Jones drifting at four-wheel drift off of turn 4 that time. Almost getting up into Katie Hettinger off of turn 4. Hettinger holding on to the second position, but Connor Jones not going down without a fight as they race off into 3.
Carson Brown loves this. The battle for second place continues. You see the lead is growing. Hettinger now settles down, drops it into line, middle of 1 and 2. Way up the track in turn 2. That's going to open the door again for Connor Jones. Going to be 2 laps to go at the line this time for Brown, holding a comfortable lead at the front.
Carson Brown driving off 10 car lengths ahead of this battle for second and third. Katie Hettinger, Connor Jones fighting for the runner-up position as we will be coming back to the white flag next time around. 1 lap remaining for Carson Brown in the number 25. This is the battle for second.
White flag is flying high now above the line with 1 final circuit for Carson Brown. Katie Hettinger trying to hold off, and looks like she will be able to after taking the lead. That badly timed yellow, though, relegating her back to the second position. Off of 4, coming to the checkered first World Series win for Carson Brown.
Katie Hettinger coming home in second. Connor Jones, Hunter Wright, and Ryan Lusa flashing across the start-finish line to round out the top 5. A dominant performance tonight for Carson Brown with the help of a perfectly timed caution flag for him and a terribly timed caution flag for Katie Hettinger.
7 laps to go, and she had taken the lead. Looked like she was well on her way to victory, but Carson Brown and the Rackley War, number 25, pulls into victory lane, celebrating World Series win in his second World Series start here tonight for the 25. Katie Hettinger, second night in a row, kind of impressing. Even though last night it didn't work out the way that she would have liked it, having that late race spin. And third place run for Connor Jones, taking that early advantage in the World Series Pro Late Model standings. Carson Brown, a great run tonight. We'll celebrate 2 more features yet to go. The 602 Modifieds will get lined up here in moments. They'll be the next feature up. The E-Mods will round out our evening on night number 3. But we will have some more racing action. 6 features tonight. Busy night here at the World Series.
Night.
New Smyrna Speedway. As we send it down to Boss Laser Victory Lane, where Jesse Punch will get a word. The winner should be elated. Great run tonight and holding off a great field of cars in an outstanding race, Carson Brown.
Well, his team is definitely elated down here in Victory Lane. Carson Brown parks that 25 in Victory Lane. A fabulous Pro Late Model win here this evening, Carson. Congratulations. Take me back, though, through that final restart in those last few laps. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, I was just hoping we could seal the deal. Rackley War gave me a very good Pay Cafe number 25. Unfortunately, something let loose on a race car very early in the race, and we were just very tight the whole race. But Rackley War gave me a great car, and I'm just happy to be here.
Just happy to be here and in Victory Lane, nonetheless. So what is your outlook, then, for the rest of this competition?
Yeah, hopefully we can just keep this momentum going. This is my second Pro Late Model race and first time here, so we're doing pretty good so far.
You're 1 for 2 on wins in the Pro Late Model, Carson. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Carson Brown, your winner this evening in the Pro Late Model division.
Yeah, very strong run for Carson Brown, and got the break he needed. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Tonight he was good for the whole race and got that little bit of luck that helped propel him into victory because he got the yellow when he needed it to go back to that last lap. And you saw the difference of, what, 6/1,000ths of a second.
6/1,000ths of a second kept Katie Hettinger out of victory lane tonight. That's going to be kind of a heartbreaker for her. But I think she's also feeling pretty good about her chances the rest of the week. That is a very fast race car.
Yeah, definitely nothing to hang her head about tonight. Outstanding run for the Anthony Campy Racing Chevrolet number 81, Katie Hettinger with Jesse Punch.
Katie, an incredibly tight second place finish here this evening, but still smiling. Describe your emotions right now.
Yeah, you know, I had a great car. I'm really thankful for my crew. They busted their butt last night. They didn't get home till like 5 a.m. This morning, so really wish I had that one. My car was really fast. That yellow kind of threw me off a little bit, but still glad I could bring it home in second. Hopefully we can get the win tomorrow.
I have to ask, do you feel confident that you could have had that win if that last caution hadn't come out?
I do. I think after I cleared him, I would have had him, but he did good on that restart, so I give that to him. Congrats to him, but we'll get it tomorrow.
Still more Pro Late Model competition to come. That's Katie Hettinger finishing second here this evening.
Definitely strong run for Hettinger, and she was all smiles, as was the winner, Carson Brown. You like when all these drivers are happy with their finish. Connor Jones, probably not quite as happy, even though he had a good run and he has a great start when it comes to maybe a Pro Late Model Championship. We're still early in the week. He finished second the last 2 years and the points, but Connor Jones is standing by with Jesse.
Connor, 2 podium finishes now this week, but what's going through your mind? What are your emotions here finishing third?
I don't know. It's not the run we wanted, but really, I think we had a chance to win. We just got too tight. You know, I think our toe was knocked in a little bit, and it just causes us to push the center too much. And but I really couldn't do this without all my guys. You know, the whole RNS crew. You know, Clearly Communications, Tool Shack, Jones Utilities, Pepper Jack Chemicals, Nutrisource, Fire Suppression Solutions. Really, just everybody.
There's obviously a championship on the line here. You have 2 podium finishes so far. Are you confident title holder at the end of the week?
Yeah, I think if we just keep getting consistent podium finishes, I think we definitely will have a chance.
That's Connor Jones, third place this evening.
Top 3, pretty happy. He said that the toe might have been knocked in a little bit there on the car, got a little tight later in the race. There's the top 3. 4th spot was Hunter Wright. Ryan Luza, top qualifier, finished 5th. 6 through 10 were Charlie Keevan, Jimmy Renfrew Jr., Brent Cruz, Gavin Bushell, and Dakota Stroop. Bushell and Stroop, hey, they finished tonight, cars in one piece, in 9th and 10th. A little bit better run than they had one day ago. We'll be back with our next feature, the 602 Modifieds lining up on pit road. 602 Modifieds gridding on pit road. 33 cars on our entry list and our starting lineup. Whether they all make the call tonight, I'm not sure. There's a lot of youth in this class, too, and it's their first night of scheduled 4 nights. They race this week, and they put on some good shows the last couple of years, but by far the biggest field of cars we've had in this class.
Yeah, and none of these drivers are local. They all come from a pretty far distance, and you're not going to come all this way to not race. So my guess is that we will see the full 33-car contingent take to the racetrack here as soon as we finish up with our victory lane ceremonies.
Yeah, out of about 34 cars or so on my entry list, I think there's only a handful from the state of Florida.
Right. They're almost all of them do make a pretty significant trip to get here and compete down here.
25-lap feature event. The scheduled race for the 602 Modifieds. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting lineup while they are lining up on pit road. Luke Baldwin, one of the sons of Tommy Baldwin, starting the 7NC car on the pole position. Lee Sharpstein in the 17 will start in the second spot. Trevor Catalano, one of Amy's sons, starting in the third position of the 54. And Evan Rogalski in the 27R starting fourth.
Justin Beecher in the number 57 will start inside row number 3 alongside Andrew Lewis in the number 65 car. Bobby Jones in the number 1 starts 7th tonight alongside Jerry Grody in the number 2.
Adam LaCicero in the 27A will start in the 9th position, has made 3 starts in the World Series in recent years as a top 5 and a few top 10s to go with it. Christopher Hatton in the 09 starts in the 10th position. Karsten Dijon Tomaso in the 33D. It's one of those names that has come up each and every year in this division, and Karsten has won 4 of the 6 World Series races for the 602 class. We'll keep an eye on that 33D starting from the 11th position. Ricky Collins, the 51, starts in the 12th spot.
Another one of the stars of the 602 modified division will start 13th. Paulie Hartwig Jr. in the number 73 car. He will start inside Troy Bollinger in the number 35. Matt Caprera in the number 29 car will start 15th tonight alongside Jarrett Dijon Tomaso in the number 38.
Jarrett hasn't had quite the success here at the World Series as Karsten has his brother, but he's got some top 5s. He's been up there battling with his brother for some wins in the last 2 years. Starting in the 17th position, the 72 of Brian Rogalski, starting 18th. James Blewett, the 76 car. James Blewett coming in at 14 years of age. And that driver from New Jersey, a World Series rookie. Blewett named synonymous with racing here at the World Series. Jonathan Laurie in car number 74 will start 19th, and starting 20th is Matt Rico in the 73H.
Rob Schultz will start 21st in car number 10 alongside will be Nick Baer in the 12B. Ryan Fisher in the number 02 will start alongside Pat Wall in the 5W.
Michael Brennan's car number 41 will start from the 25th position tonight. Jack Baldwin, the 7NY, another son of Tommy Baldwin, starting 26th, deep in the field for him. Ethan DeRocher in the 16th, starting 27th, and starting 28th, Jake Nelke in car 00.
Of course, Jack Baldwin had some engine issues earlier in the day. That would be why he starts deep in the field. Starting 29th tonight, 24L car of Eric Lane alongside, looks like Cody Norman in the 12 car. Ricky Coop in the number 36 alongside Jerry Simons in the number 33F.
Rounding out our field, Jeremy Gersner in the 55. We've seen Jeremy Gersner race with the Florida Modifieds. The Tour Type Modifieds was in the race last night. In fact, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour event now starts from the final position. Most of the cars have made their way out onto pit road as they continue to grid them here for this 25-lap feature race. We have the E-Mods also coming up here in just a little bit as well. What a big field of 602s. The 602 mods scheduled to run tonight, tomorrow, as well as Tuesday and Thursday. Only having Wednesday night off. So they've gone from 3 races for their World Series to 4 races, which I think is a good decision, especially with the field of cars we have.
Started with just a couple of races a couple years back. They added a night last year and added another night this year. This class continuing to grow and has always been competitive, despite the fact that it has been like a Karsten Dijon Tommaso benefit series. Really has been a very competitive class of race cars and a great addition to the World Series here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Karsten Dijon Tommaso from Jackson, New Jersey, 21 years of age, and as we mentioned, has won 4 of 6 World Series races in the 602 division. See the 76 pulling up there in line. James Blewett in the 18th starting position. Be fun watching that car try to make its way through its field. Word from race officials, they're going to give some warm-up laps before the start of this race. Give these drivers a chance to get some more heat in the tires before they actually go green. And heat in these tires is very important because it's a momentum class.
Yep.
You know they're going to duck down to that bottom line, and it needs to stick to the inside lane or they're going to push up into whoever's on the outside of them.
And unlike their big brothers, these cars do not have all that rubber to keep them in place. And narrow tires, one of the couple of glaring differences between these cars and the tour type modifieds, they look very similar. The tire is maybe about half as wide.
Yeah,
as we
less
see.
power,
Yeah,
less tire.
Way less power.
And actually it makes for some great racing, at least from what we've seen the last couple of years. We've seen nights where they've gone very clean. We've seen nights where they've been a little bit on the rougher side,
Yeah.
which is what you would expect from a class like this, much the same as the Pro Late models. We saw Pro Lates last night having a rough show, tearing up a lot of equipment. Then tonight they put on a great show, a barn burner, with 30 cars starting the event. So we've had both sides of the Pro Late Model world last night and tonight.
And much like the Pro Late Model is an entry-level late model class, this is kind of the entry-level modified class up in the Mid-Atlantic region. There's our buddy Connor Sullivan making his way across pit road down there. Appreciate all of Connor's hard work down on pit road with our RF camera. Definitely tough on your feet. Hopefully he's got some good footwear. He is definitely logging a lot of laps down there. Lugging that camera around. Appreciate all the hard work, particularly today. Got to give a huge shout out to our camera crew here. It has been a very challenging day with the breeze, the 30-mile-an-hour winds, the temperatures outside. Appreciate the hard work by our entire Racing America crew here live on Flow Racing tonight.
Had back-to-back wins tonight for Virginia. The state's doing well here tonight.
How about that?
Any Virginians in this field? I don't believe so. Looks like that streak will come to an end.
By default.
Luke Baldwin on the pole position in the 7. Lee Sharpstein in the 17 alongside. Sharpstein, we've seen race these cars. This is Baldwin's first start during the World Series. Again, a young driver, just a teenager. Lee Sharpstein in the 17 has started 4 of these 602 races. A veteran driver, 35 years of age. 2 top 5s in those 4 starts, so he's had some success here, looking for his first World Series win. Trevor Catalano making his first 602 World Series start tonight, starting from that 3rd position, that familiar red 54 scheme. Those cars always sharp.
You know what, it's interesting. The Catalano family has kind of made the World Series an annual rite of passage. They've participated regularly in the tour type modified. Of course, they were well represented in the Whalen modified tour race the other night. Competing here in the 602 modified division, also going to compete in the super late model class as well. So they have really made this entire week a family affair, and good to see Trevor Catalano, and he's got a pretty good starting position tonight. Could be a factor once we go racing. It's a good look at Luke Baldwin in the 7NC, and of course the traditional number of the Baldwin family was 7NY. Tiger Tom Baldwin out of the state of New York. And once the family relocated to North Carolina, as Tommy Baldwin made his name and made his living working in the Cup Series, undoubtedly Luke Baldwin, a North Carolina native, so they kind of transitioned into the 7NC.
Still quite a few people that were here earlier tonight sticking around to watch the final two races, the 602 Modifieds. Finishing the lineup there were a lot of cars to get lined up, and they were slow getting out onto pit road. And they're finishing that lineup up before they turn up the wick a little bit, get some heat in the tires. Then we'll go racing for 25 laps tonight here at the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing.
I'm pretty confident we're going to get a good show tonight. I don't know if we're going to go flag to flag here, Adam.
I'm pretty confident we'll see flag to flag to flag to flag, with some of those flags being yellows.
Right. Some of those flags may be yellow, correct.
Going to double it up. In 2 laps, we will go green. Good night of racing action from the World Series here tonight. New Smyrna Speedway. Jesse Punch doing a good job down in Victory Lane. Charles Crawl, Adam Mackey up here in the booth. Glad to bring you night number 3. 6 nights remain after this one. Weather forecast throughout the week looks good. This was the coldest day in our forecast. And highs still in the 60s, so still warm compared to many places.
Well, it was like negative 42 degrees up in New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago, so I will take 62 degrees anytime this time of the year. Lights out on the pace car, Adam. 33 cars answering the bell here for our first 602 modified feature of the week. Luke Baldwin, Lee Sharpstein up on the front row. Trevor Catalano, Evan Rogalski back in row 2. Andrew Lewis and Justin Beecher back in row 3. 25 laps of excitement coming our way. And a great mix of young drivers, veteran drivers, lots of experience, inexperience. All about to find out what's going to happen here. 25 laps the distance, pace car on pit road as we get ready to rock and roll here in our 602 feature event.
On the go pedal through the field, looking good on the opening start. Down into turn 1, it's Baldwin on the inside lane, Sharpstein on the outside. It's Sharpstein now getting a good run in the second groove, and big wreck on the back straightaway as they pile in.
We are going to go red as we've got a car on top of the wall down the backside of the racetrack.
Big crash. It's what we were worried about with a field this size. Nowhere to go for many of the competitors.
And it looks like most of these cars right here, Adam, have come to a stop. We see some damage, particularly on the 24 car, and of course the 76 car you see to the left side of the screen.
Fluid car with damage to the front
obviously
suspension.
Been in the outside wall, but most of those cars I think were able to just stop without getting involved. But we've got another cluster of cars just to the left of the screen here. One of those cars, as we will see, was up on top of the wall and did some damage to that infield catch fence there. So that is why we are under red here on lap number 1. A tough break for James Blewett there in the 76 car.
I think they have a couple of different rows of catch fence, maybe getting the one closest to the wall, but not the one behind it.
Correct.
So that's the good news.
Where those cars are parked, there is a fence,
right,
and then there is also a fence where the tow truck is.
So good news that they didn't have just one section of fencing down through. They have a couple protective sections of fencing in case something like this happens. But we will be under red for a moment as cleanup continues on the back straightaway. As we're going to take a look here in a moment at the Flow Racing replay of what happened. We were just ahead of it on the live edition, but we have a look at what happened down on 1 and 2. Looking to see, there we go.
Yeah.
It happened
toward,
I would say, right around
And there you see
around the 10th positions where it took place, and they kind of stacked in behind him.
And there you see the fence just getting accordioned, and I couldn't quite get a read on which car that was. Let's see if we get a good look at what happened here. Keep an eye on the white number 2 car. He's going to make some contact right there, and they just kind of start bouncing off of one another. I believe
And
that's
then-
one of the Dijon
Yeah.
Tomasos right there.
That
He's
is
going to
correct.
get pounded in the driver's door, and they just start heading down to the inside of the racetrack and up onto the wall. Take another look at it from the top of the grandstands here. Keep an eye on the white number 33 car. He's going to get turned sideways as they started to slow for the 2 car, and there's everybody with nowhere to go. And I believe the Dijon Tomaso brothers came together right there, the 33 and the 35.
So big crash, heavy damage to a few of our vehicles. We're going to take another on this angle over from turn number 1.
That's Jerry
just a-
Grodi in the 2.
Gradle.
Or Gradle, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It
Jerry
was-
Gradle in the 2.
It was just a matter of running out of room
Yep.
coming out of 2, and when they start to check up and you're on an original start like that many cars, it just accordions, and that's what happened here.
And Karsten Dijon Tomaso gets turned sideways directly in front of brother Jarrett Dijon Tomaso. That's got to be a horrible feeling, seeing your brother sideways directly in front of you and knowing you don't have anywhere to go. There's Karsten Dijon Tomaso's white car stopped right there in the middle of the screen. There is the car on top of the wall, and you see the damage there. There is the catch fence there that we referenced.
As cleanup continues here from New Smyrna Speedway, as you see, we've got protective catch fence still up to the inside. So fortunately, there were 2 rows of it, and they've got another row there to protect the infield from anything that may come that way. No laps completed in this 25-lap feature for the 602 Modifieds. Cleanup continues. We'll be back with a restart and more from New Smyrna Speedway on Flow Racing. Under red flag conditions at New Smyrna Speedway for night 3 of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. Red flag that took place on lap number 1 of the 602 Modified 25-lap feature. Field stacking up, a racing deal over in turn 2. Kind of running out of room. One of the cars on the inside lane pushed up a little high off the second corner. When he did, the next one checked up. Everyone else piles in, as you'll see once again on another Flow Racing replay. Great shots from the front stretch. Left side of the screen here is where it kind of happened. They check up, and then they just all pile in. Nowhere to go there. And we saw the 35 then of Troy Bollinger get to the side of Dijon Tomaso. I think The other Dijon Tommaso might have been able to avoid
Sneak through
most
there,
of it.
maybe. Keep an eye on that 33 car. That is Karsten Dijon Tommaso, the driver who has won 4 of the 7 races the series has had here. There's Bollinger, and there's Jarrett.
He had some
Dijon,
sparks there,
sneaking
maybe,
through
but
there.
I think he might have made it through.
That might have been just from getting on the brakes, I believe. He
Could have
was
been.
full lock on the brakes right there. But
We
again,
know where he is now. He's right
Yep.
side of the screen, just out of the picture.
Yeah, Jerry Gradle right there just drifted up the racetrack directly in front of that entire group of cars, and everybody just scrambled from there on out. A couple of them went up to the outside wall. Several of them went down to the inside wall. And the reason we are under red is they did gather up some of the catch fencing down to the inside of the racetrack there. So we're going to.
I'm thinking they'll try. I think they're hooking maybe some wreckers up to it, pulling it kind of back into place. It was laid over when the car got on top of the wall, so they'll do the best they can there. And again, they have that other section of fencing that runs adjacent to it, which is fortunate because they're still protected on the infield with the one that's further in. So cleanup continues on the back straightaway. This is a 25-lap feature for the 602 Modifieds. It's still 25 laps from the finish. And then we have the E-Mods racing their event to follow. I think the E-Mods just have like one event this week during the course of the World Series. A handful of cars on hand for that one. They'll be racing next. This was a big field of 30-plus 602 Modifieds. 38 shown on our list. Not sure how many took the green. We'll find out here in moments. But we had 33 on our entry list with Luke Baldwin and Lee Sharpstein on that front row. And they'll be up there again with no laps in to try it again for a restart in a little bit. There you see the quarter midget track on the infield where all of the youngsters, I believe, built back in about 2000. And a nice little facility down there for the kids to gain experience.
Looks like a lot of fun. I think we had a youngster up in here who's got some laps on that little quarter midget track. I believe Daniel Dye's got some laps down there. Good to see Daniel up in here a little bit ago. We saw him here flipping water bottles under a delay a couple of years back. And, of course, now Daniel will be running for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship here in 2023. Of course, Daniel from just down the road in DeLand, Florida. Good to see him here tonight.
So under red for the first of 4 nights here for the 602 Modifieds, and they are just about finished on the backstretch, and we'll get the cars rolling here in a second. They're done messing with the fence. They're actually running through some drying agent, making sure it's kind of swept off and in good conditions, not wet back there anymore. We'll be able to refire the cars and get going as the safety trucks are making their way toward the pit road area here at New Smyrna Speedway. Night number 4 of the World Series coming up tomorrow night for a Monday evening. We've got super late models, a 35-lap feature. Tomorrow night, the 602's back in action. Tour-type modifieds are here. Of course, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour here last night for 200 laps. Tomorrow night will be a Tour-type modified 50-lap feature, plus pro late models and the Florida Modifieds. Tuesday night action features 3 divisions. 602 mods, the Tour Type Modifieds, and the Clyde Hart Memorial Super Late Model 100 for the ASA Southern Super Series. Nearly 30 cars on the entry list for that one. Come on out and join us. New Smyrna Speedway Tuesday night for a big-time Super Late Model race. William Byron will be here.
Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, Johnny Sauter just entered, I believe, on the list today.
Sauter's to that point in his career where he is only coming out to races he thinks he's gonna win. You know, that's what's good about him. Gonna be good.
There you see work going on in one of the machines with the heavy damage to the front end. They'd love to get back out there.
Yep. That was one of the cars that slid down into the infield. You see a lot of dirt and mud on the bodywork of that car. What do you say we try this again? Attempt number 2. To get things underway.
I think it was almost inevitable something like that was going to happen with the scenario that was set of that many cars, and unfortunately, it happened, right up around the 8th position,
Yeah.
I think, where they checked up and nowhere to go for a big pack of cars. If they could have just waited 1 or 2 more laps, they would have spread out
It would have been
enough.
spread out, yeah.
And then it would have been far less critical for some of the competitors middle of the pack.
And when you got these momentum-based race cars, restarts are the biggest. The start and restarts are the biggest opportunity to go out there and get a handful of positions at a time, and you don't want to give up any ground at all. And that's what leads to situations like that, and it's a tough break for many of the drivers who were involved back there. Tough way to start the week.
It'll take a few laps for them to realign the 602s.
So we'll have to kind of see who is able to answer the bell for the restart here. I know we definitely are going to lose a couple of cars. In any case, it does look like Luke Baldwin and Lee Sharpstein will restart from their original starting positions. Looks like Trevor Catalano was free and clear of that incident on the initial start. Evan Rogalski looks like he's circulating there in the 4th position. So the front 2 rows will be untouched after that opening lap crash.
"25 laps of green flag action still to go." The 29 ride that we saw being worked on just a couple of moments ago. Matt Caprera coming back off of pit road, heading back to the racetrack. Made it to turn number 2 before the mishap that has eliminated a few of our cars. The rest of them trying to get back into place for a restart. I want to thank everybody for checking out our coverage here on Flow Racing tonight. We've had some exciting battles, and hopefully this race will turn out to be an exciting one as well.
Everybody getting to work down there trying to clear the racetrack. You see a lot of the track service vehicles now making their way back down into the infield.
Talked about the chilly conditions we had today. Going to be in the 60s again tomorrow, and then it warms back up into the 70s, and we'll see even a day or two in the 80s later this week. Right now, the folks outside feeling a brisk 51 degrees. It feels like 48 outside with the breeze. Winds have dropped now to single digits, which is a good thing.
Which is a very good thing. Again, we had 30-mile-an-hour plus winds earlier today, and it was a challenge just walking walking up the stairs here today. I thought I was going to get blown to Orlando earlier. The wind was so stiff.
Officials looking over the final few competitors, making sure everybody that came to the pits are restarting where they're supposed to be, and everybody that was able to continue. Obviously losing some cars, so now they'll shuffle the field a little bit, get them restacked up for the final 25 laps. Race night tomorrow, 7:30, as we start each and every one of the 9 nights of racing. So 7:30 Eastern time, catch our coverage on Flow Racing. If you're coming out to the racetrack, join us a little earlier. Qualifying's usually around 5:30, 6 o'clock each
6
night.
o'clock, yep. And of course, if you're If you've got it as bad as we do and you want to come and join us for practice,
yeah, come on out.
12:30. Let's send it on downstairs. We've got a report from Jesse Punch. Jesse, what you got going on down there?
Well, gentlemen, I've been running around down here in the infield following that last incident we saw on the backstretch, just trying to catch up with each driver. Thankfully, they all reported to me that they are okay. I talked with Chris Hatton, whose race car definitely took the most damage of all of them. He said he's fine, he's still in good spirits, a little concerned about the points deficit now, but if this were going to happen at all this week, he's happy that it happened in race 1. Just glad to see everybody's okay after that last one.
Yeah, pretty
Jesse,
crazy down there in the pits.
Stay warm down there, Jesse. Looking a little brisk down there for sure. But, yeah, a lot of you got to figure that there's going to be some hurt feelings after a situation like that. But good to hear that everybody down there doing okay and trying to keep themselves in a positive frame of mind as we got the lights out on the pace car. Adam, what do you say we do it again one more time? Let's see if we can get this thing underway in 25 laps in the books.
Do it again a little bit differently this time. That's our goal.
Right.
Luke Baldwin in the 7NC, Lee Sharpstein in the 17, pace car pulling away, just about ready for the restart. 25 laps from the finish. Green flag in the air, Sharpstein on the outside, Baldwin on the inside, and Sharpstein gets the advantage at the start. We got him looking for 3 wide back in the field. They'll single back down to 2 by 2, which is a good thing as they race off at turn 2. What a run for the 27 of Rogalski.
Rogalski with a great run off the top side of turns 1 and 2. He's going to dive it to the inside there. Lee Sharpstein drifting up the racetrack. And now Luke Baldwin, after kind of a slow start, trying to get the momentum built up in that 7NC car, he's holding on to that 3rd position.
Got the first lap in. That's a crucial first lap. Sharpstein running 2nd. Baldwin in 3rd. Catalano in the 4th position. Justin Beecher running in the 5th spot, going around down in turns 3 and 4.
Ooh.
Look around down in the corner as they pile in. They're late in the going. I don't think there's going to be much damage in this whole deal. But they pull away from the scene. Most will be fine here. 35 is not.
Ooh.
Got the radiator on the 35 car.
Didn't get the radiator. The first incident on that opening lap, we saw Bollinger involved in that opening lap incident on the backstretch, Troy Bollinger. But unfortunately, knocking the radiator onto that one here on the 2nd attempt of the start here tonight. And a lot of damage to the nose.
Yeah. Maybe some frame.
It'll be a long night for that 35 team here tonight. Troy Bollinger, last car on the scene of that incident over there at the top of turns 3 and 4.
Got 1 lap in, 24 laps to go. It was pretty good racing up front and clean as we take a look at the Flow Racing replay. Down into the corner. Just got sideways, did the 57 of Beecher. Nobody touched him there, and around he went. Good evasive move for the car behind him, and then they just get on the brakes hard. Most able to avoid. Nicely done, except the 35 just couldn't quite get stopped. And pretty severe damage there for that. Had it slowed down.
Unfortunately, there was a car directly in his path.
That really helped it slow down. Bad break there for one of the drivers that started 14th, Troy Bollinger. The one lone car that will be towed back to the pits. Evan Rogalski, what a move on the opening lap to take the lead.
Power move.
It was a power move. Drove to the bottom and shot into the top spot. And we saw Rogalski last season run strong on a couple of occasions as well. 3 starts and 2 top 5s a year ago for the 27 car. Cleanup just about done down in 3 and 4, so they'll get ready to choose their lanes.
Yeah, we talked about that initial start. Luke Baldwin not really getting a great start, and maybe perhaps no surprise there. A young man with just a little bit of experience under his belt, so we'll see if he's able to, kind of get some of those lessons, under his belt here this weekend. And I think we'll see him. He got a lot of experience on the pit box, calling the shots. His dad, Tommy Baldwin, calling the shots for him here this weekend. So I'm sure he'll get a lot of those, lessons and get a lot of debrief, opportunity to debrief with his dad, and we'll see him improve throughout the course of the week, and perhaps even improve throughout the course of this race. Obviously, has a pretty good race car to qualify well and start up near the front here tonight. So we'll see if Luke Baldwin able to get up there and maybe grab a couple of positions on this next restart.
E-Mods, one of the regular track divisions, they still have a race yet to run tonight following the conclusion of this 25-lap feature. So Rogalski leads. Sharpstein in the 17 is second. Luke Baldwin is third. The first two have experience here at the World Series. Rogalski, as I mentioned, 2 top 5s and 3 starts. 17 of Sharpstein has also been one of the front runners the last couple of years. 4 starts with 2 top 5s. Luke Baldwin, World Series rookie. Trevor Catalano, 602 World Series rookie, restarting in 4th. Justin Beecher, 57 car, also a World Series rookie. Was the spin up in turns 3 and 4, was running in the 5th spot, relegated to the tail of the field now.
And that is a lot of track position to give up tonight with all of these race cars.
Track crew finishing the cleanup down in 3 and 4. I think the car is most likely in positions where they need to be, and then they'll double up, and we'll get ready for a restart. Clean racing up to this point. That wasn't really a byproduct of dirty racing by any means. That was a solo car spin down in the corner, and then stacking them up a little bit following.
It's just you stop at the top of the racetrack and you close off one of the escape routes for everybody else. And that's kind of what we saw up there, but it's kind of a halting start to our first 602 modified feature event of the night. We've seen this a couple of times in the past with this group, but once we get the week going and once we get kind of the bugs and the nerves and everything out of their system, these guys really do generally put on a pretty good show. So we'll get all this anxiousness out of the way tonight, as we should get the 2 to go signal this time around, Adam, and let's see how they decide to choose.
Going to choose the lane here. Rogalski going to take the outside. Second place, Sharpstein to the low side. That one through the middle.
No.
That one through the middle. Through the middle. A lot of middle lane competitors here.
A lot of
they haven't done that this week, so they're trying to learn. There's a good move up. Well, through the middle. A lot of drivers starting in the middle lane here.
We're just giving up at this point. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do.
Lordy.
If you send everybody to the tail, then everybody gets to keep their spot, right?
Might have to throw an orange cone out there. I don't know.
Let's do it. I know where we can find one.
So 24 to go with 1 down.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to figure out a lineup here because
they're lining up. Let's just race them. We'd have about 3 rows of double wide and the rest of the field single file in the middle of the racetrack if we went by the choose rule there. I'm not sure that it's that hard to understand. I just feel like they know where it is. Right. They've seen it. So when you get to the finish line, pull low or high. It's
go
pretty
left
simple.
or right.
Yeah.
Go left or right. That is true.
We heard a word that the orange cone is retired, so we can't use it on the front straightaway. That's why we have an arrow.
The cone is retired.
Might have to unretire.
That's why we put the arrow down there. 1 to go from Ralph Miller at the start-finish line. We'll go 24 green flag laps coming up this time around.
Rogalski's the leader in the 27R. Sharpstein in the 17 is officially second. It will be Rogalski that controls the pace down in 3 and 4 and through the starting box in turn number 4 on the outside lane. That's where he chose. Successfully outside. The arrow on the front stretch. Coming to green. 24 laps from the finish in the 602 modified feature.
Another good restart for Rogalski in the 27 car. Let's see what Sharpstein does on the bottom. And here comes Trevor Catalano in the 54 car. Good restart for Catalano as the top three now fall into single file formation. The battle on behind them.
Single wide. Single file, top three, Rogalski, Sharpstein, Catalano. Then it is a battle to the outside now. Here comes LeCicero into the 4 spot. Dropping back in the inside lane is Baldwin. Another driver racing to the high side, the 51 of Ricky Collins. Good racing for the 5th position.
LeCicero taking over that 4th position. Luke Baldwin now falling back into 5th, but he is going to feel some heat. Ricky Collins in the 51, and how about Trevor Catalano in that 54 car all over Lee Sharpstein down the backstretch. Catalano with a great run here in the opening laps.
Catalanos each and every year make the trip here to the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. This time it's Trevor Catalano, another one of the Catalano kids. Got Tyler, Tommy, Trevor right now racing in the 602s on the inside lane. Hasn't seen the opening needed yet to try to make a run at the 17 of Sharpstein. All running in each other's tire tracks. There he tries a run to the inside down the backstretch.
Lee Sharpstein having a very good run here in the opening circuits of our 25-lap 602 modified feature event. Feeling all kinds of heat from behind, though. Trevor Catalano in the 54 car still trying to find a way to work around. He's got to find a way to get that momentum up through the center of the corner and then find a way to turn underneath. We saw the same situation in our Pro Late Model feature event with Katie Hettinger trying to work her way around Carson Brown. Trevor Catalano in the same boat, trying to get that momentum build up in that 54 car.
Upper left, we see the top three in a rundown. Rogalski, Sharpstein, and Catalano to the inside for the 2nd spot. There's the run for the runner-up position. Sharpstein thought about closing the door, then gave room in turn 3. Battle for 2nd. It's up for grabs. Sharpstein holds off the Catalano car on the front straightaway. Still side by side off of 2. Good run for the 54.
Yeah, Catalano able to get the power down off the exit of 2. He's going to take over that 2nd position. Sharpstein going to dive down into the tire tracks of Trevor Catalano. He's going to hold on to 3rd, but here comes that next group. Adam LeCicero closing in that 4th position.
Adam LeCicero from New Jersey has made 3 World Series starts. 2 top 10s out of those in the last couple of years. Mostly single file around the track now. They've spread out a little bit. But still running at each other's tire tracks, just waiting for someone to get a little out of line to make a move. 15 laps to go. 10 laps have been completed here early on. Rogalski out front. And it's Catalano trying to close that gap. Last time by it was 1.2 seconds. This time by 1.185. Didn't close the gap much. Very equal laps for Rogalski and Catalano at the front.
There's LeCicero in the 27 car. Now looking to the inside of Lee Sharpstein off at turn 2. Luke Baldwin in the mix there in the 7NC car. Ricky Collins in the 51. Andrew Lewis joining this party in the white number 65 car. Lewis currently sitting in that 7th position as we're going to stack him up double wide down into turn 3. Sharpstein holding on to that 3rd position. He's fought off the charge of Adam LeCicero at the moment. Now LeCicero going to feel some heat from Luke Baldwin to the top side.
Baldwin making a run to the outside lane. Baldwin fell back on the inside groove early in the race. Now starting to rally. Maybe starting to feel a little bit more experience after running several laps of a feature event. His first here at the World Series and looking good now. Up into the 4th position, Luke Baldwin. 5th spot, Ricky Collins in the 51. Then the 27 of LeCicero. 65 of Andrew Lewis peaking to the high side. Here comes another move for Baldwin. Contact made with Sharpstein.
Sharpstein aggressively slammed the door shut on Luke Baldwin there going into turn 3. Baldwin looking good now that the tire temperatures have come up, tire pressures have come up. That 7NC car looking very strong.
10 laps to go. Going to be 9 at the line, and we're going to have a yellow as we have a spinner. The 12 of Nick Bear has gone around, bringing out the yellow flag here with 10 laps to go. Good green flag run there. Some good passing. Now we're going to stack them up for a double file restart with 10 laps to go. Don't count out that 54 of Catalano, turning laps that are very close. In fact, Catalano just turned his quickest lap of the race a lap ago, the 19.2. Rogalski's fastest lap of the race, a 19.1. And actually, Nick Bear, who has just spun, had the quickest lap overall in this race not long before a spin.
And it's interesting, Trevor Catalano had actually nicked off almost about a second of that 1.8 second advantage that Evan Rogalski had built as we were closing in on the 10 lap to go mark.
Ten laps to go. Rogalski has the advantage, 15 laps completed. Not the yellow he was looking for there. Had a second lead. I think Catalano was maybe picking a little bit off of it, but very little.
Evan Rogalski scored as the leader over Trevor Catalano, Lee Sharpstein, Luke Baldwin, and Ricky Collins, the top five. 15 laps in the books here in our 25-lap 602 modified feature event. Big time crash down the backstretch, kind of holding us up here in our 25-lap 602 modified feature event. Kind of jittery here for this division on their opening night of activities here on night number 3, the 57th running of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing.
Obviously, the opening lap crash, the big one coming off of turn 2, just nowhere to go, racing deal. And the field accordion, when someone ran out of room, the next driver checks up and they pile in. Still a lot of race cars on track. We have 25 drivers on the lead lap. So just really a handful out of the event.
And all of those cars would have been eliminated in that opening lap incident. And a couple of notables that were involved there in that opening lap crash include Karsten Dijon Tomaso, the driver who has won more than half of the 602 modified feature events in World Series history. He's going to end up way back in the 36th position as we get the 2 to go signal here as the field goes through the choose zone here just past start finish. Evan Rogalski lining up to the top side. Trevor Catalano down to his inside. And look at this on this restart. We've kind of scrambled the field here a little bit.
Yeah, we're going 3 wide.
Yeah.
Baldwin was 4th in line. 51 of Collins maybe trying to get up there in that second row. Yellow still waving, so they're sorting it out, making sure everything's correct. The leader's Rogalski in the 27, outside of row 1. Chose the outside lane. Trevor Catalano in the 54, choosing the inside. Has a car capable of doing this.
10-lap sprint to the finish coming up as soon as we go back green flag racing. Trevor Catalano in the 54. That car really starting to come to life through the mid-section of this race. Starting to track down Evan Rogalski. The big question on this restart, and we see it in this division time in, time out, will he be able to make that bottom groove work, the top side where all the momentum is?
One to go signal shown. Coming back around to green. Rogalski, Catalano up front.
Keep an eye on Luke Baldwin in the 7NC. That car was starting to come to life too towards the end of that green flag run as we get back to green flag racing. Pace car down on pit road. Look at that jump by Trevor Catalano. Can he hold it down into 1?
Good run back to the high lane, up into the third groove goes Rogalski, sticks pretty well down the backstretch. Catalano pulls ahead. Again, a nice run into turn 3 for Rogalski. Sharpstein looking for an opening. Catalano gives him room down the front stretch. At the line, it's a tight one. Catalano by inches is the leader. Rogalski, though, taking back control momentarily, middle of the corner. Catalano the good push down the backstretch.
Trevor Catalano doing a great job holding on to that top spot by inches on the bottom side of the racetrack, but Evan Rogalski trying to keep the momentum wound up to the top side. Catalano pushing him way up into that third groove, and now Trevor Catalano will take the lead down the backstretch. Lee Sharpstein now sticking the nose of the 17 car to the inside of Evan Rogalski. The battle on now for second.
Rogalski up into second. Sharpstein running third. Now to the outside. Luke Baldwin all of a sudden up there challenging after falling back from starting on the pole position early in this race. Racing now is the 7. Running in the 5th position. Ricky Collins, the 51. Nose to tail. Rogalski's quick. He wants to take the lead back. Knows his chance to win is tonight. And here he goes with a bold move to the inside lane.
He was knocking on the back bumper down the front straightaway, and he made a bold move down to the inside, down into turn 1. Now Trevor Catalano trying to keep it wound up to the top side of the racetrack. But Rogalski strong down on the inside. Side-by-side battle for the lead down to 1. They're knocking wheels down into turn 1.
Rogalski shown as the leader by inches at the line this most recent time. Here comes Catalano fighting back. A little bit of a bump down into turn number 3, but then loses some ground. Sharpstein trying to pounce from the 3rd position. 4 to go for Evan Rogalski.
Trevor Catalano kind of gave him a shot down into turn 3, and that actually pushed Evan Rogalski out into a bigger lead. That was not what Trevor Catalano was anticipating. Catalano able to reel him back in. Field now stringing out single file. 3 to go this time around. Does Trevor Catalano have the car, and does he have time to get back around Evan Rogalski?
Up the track a little bit goes Rogalski. That allows Catalano to close again. Baldwin moving up into the 3rd spot. Good rally for the World Series rookie Luke Baldwin up to 3rd. Sharpstein there still battling him for that podium spot. 2 to go for Evan Rogalski.
Trevor Catalano in the tire tracks of Evan Rogalski. This is the battle for the lead with less than 2 to go here at New Smyrna Speedway. Catalano with the run down into turn 3. He gives Rogalski a shot. Coming to the white flag. 1 to go.
Rogalski maybe missing the corner a little bit in turn 4. Catalano closes again to the rear. Into 1, into 2. Holding a good wheel is Rogalski. Down the back straightaway. Into the 3rd corner. 1 stopped on the front stretch and yellow waving for the car on the front straightaway. The blue at 76 comes to a stop in victory lane, but that is not the winner. It was an accident taking place as they came to the white flag. Damage to the left rear of that car. Saw that car up against the wall in the backstretch earlier, and we thought that the night might end early for James Baldwin in the 76. Got a little clarification as well recently on the restarts and the choose. The 602 officials explained that the choose cone different than the track tonight. So they explained it differently than the track officials explained it. So they are not penalizing, and that's why, you know, we see a little confusion with the 602 when they come to the choose arrow.
Probably the right call for tonight.
Yes.
We'll get it worked out for the rest of the week. Let's take a look at the replay here while we are under caution as the white flag was up. Keep an eye on the red, white, and blue car there. James blew it. Might have had a little bit of help right there, and I think he did. We did see some damage to the left rear quarter panel. Let's take another look here and see if we can see there at the top left of your screen.
There's definitely a car right there on the rear.
A car. You see that car looking like he bounced off, and I'm trying to get a read on that number. It might be the number 24. Eric Lane, I believe. They were running together 14th
right.
and 15th on the racetrack.
23 laps in, 2 to go. Final 2 laps. 23 laps down. The 24th lap wasn't completed. Half the field still had yet to go across the line, so they go back to the last completed lap. Evan Rogalski is the leader. Probably did not want to see that yellow flag. Catalano gave him a couple bumps.
I think he might give him a couple of more if he's got an opportunity here on this restart.
Remember the last restart, Catalano actually held the advantage. So the 602 drivers meeting was told that it was going to be traditional restart with every other driver just falling into line, inside outside. It's Rogalski taking outside, so that's why there was some confusion, because the officials in their meeting said that there was no choose lane. It was going to be just straight up traditional restarts.
That's kind of what we have seen all night long. It's all starting to make sense now, isn't it? So Evan Rogalski chooses the top side. Trevor Catalano will restart from the bottom. We will get the lights off on the pace car this time around for a 2-lap dash, green, white, checkered finish here in our 602 modified feature event. A chilly night here at New Smyrna Speedway. Not for them, though. They're keeping warm back there in the infield.
2 laps from the finish. We're going to go green this next time. Can Evan Rogalski hold off Trevor Catalano? Or how about the 7, Luke Baldwin? Can he pass them both? Because all of a sudden, that 7 car is racy. Early in the event, maybe a little tentative. His first race here at the World Series, and all of a sudden, looking pretty stout. Coming to green, here's Rogalski. Good restart. Fires nicely. How high does the Catalano car take him? Down in 1 and 2. That may determine who ends up winning this race. Good run for both into 1 and 2.
Trevor Catalano putting the power down. He's got the nose out in front, down the backstretch. Can he clear Rogalski down into turn 3? Rogalski not wanting to give it up without a fight. He's going to try to hang tough to the outside there. White flag up. Catalano leads by just inches at the stripe. Again, 6/1000ths of a second. The difference at the white flag there, side by side down the backstretch. Here comes Lee Sharpstein. Could we have a 3-wide battle for the win? Here we come off of turn 4. Who's it going to be at the stripe? Trevor Catalano will go to victory lane.
That is by 1/1000th of a second by timing and scoring. Of course, not always does it have to be transponder scoring that counts it, because by the naked eye it would look like a dead heat, and it is Trevor Catalano reportedly getting the win. 1/1000th of a second.
It cannot get any closer than that, folks. 1/1000th of a second, the difference between victory and second place. Trevor Catalano going to victory lane tonight in a thrilling finish to our 602 modified feature event.
What a finish for those two. Side by side the final couple of laps. They raced each other clean. They ran into the corner, gave each other a little bit of room side by side in each of the corners of those final 2 laps, and both of those cars strong. And then all of a sudden, here comes Lee Sharpstein.
Where'd Sharpstein come from? He was all of a sudden looking to make it a 3-wide finish there for the win. And a great run by him, a great run by Luke Baldwin. And how about this happy young man, Trevor Catalano, by inches, ending up in victory lane. And we will send it downstairs to Jesse Punch as we hear from an excited Trevor Catalano down in victory lane.
Definitely an exciting finish, an excited driver, and a beautiful display of sportsmanship. Trevor, congratulations. A photo finish win. What's going through your mind right now?
Oh, I didn't really know what to expect there to go, it's coming down to nothing, and just leaving it all out there, just trying to come home with a win and start the week off strong.
Well, take me back to that final restart in those last laps. What was your thought process there?
I didn't really know. I knew we had to take the lane away a little bit on the front stretch, and keep them pinned on the top in the 1, and just try and keep the nose out there to not let them keep us pinched down in the corner. And they came out. I was a little bit nervous coming out of 4, but we held on to it.
Held on to it for the win. Congratulations, Trevor.
Thank you.
That is Trevor Catalano squeezing out a victory here at the last second this evening in New Smyrna.
I'm pretty elated there for Trevor Catalano, as well should be, with all of the years that they have been coming down here to the World Series and claiming a big feature win right there. And look at this. Yeah, that's a good shot right there.
That is 1/1000th of a second right there, folks.
And there's another shot. Call it from that angle.
Impossible.
Hey, there's somebody with the photo. You see the flash?
That is going to be a picture right
yes,
there.
Absolutely. I hope they were in focus.
Right, yeah.
Our cameras were in focus right there. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Great shots there as they came across the line for a photo finish. If we were at the dog track right now, they'd be yelling, this one's going to take a while. Photo finish. We have to replay it. But we'd be watching this one for a while. But thanks to timing and scoring and quick replay, man, that confirms it right there. Second place finisher, what a run for Evan Rogalski, Jesse.
Evan, 1/1000th of a second from winning this race. Describe your emotions right now.
It's a hard one to lose that one, but I can't complain. We had a solid day overall. We'll come back tomorrow even stronger and hopefully pick up that one more 1/1000th of a second there.
Definitely not a disappointed driver down here. Happy with the second place finish, but more to say. What's up?
I'd like to thank my sponsors, Sublimited, for supporting me, giving me a suit, for just being here, and just thank you for everyone. Northeast Drilling, Gary's Auto Salvage, Double Lot, Foreman's Horses, Amira Heat Treating, B&B Fab, B&E Motors, Lamber Auto, and Amsoil. Thank you all for being here.
That's a good driver right there. He knows who to thank, who got him here. Evan Rogalski finishes second this evening.
Yeah, he's a happy driver too.
He is. You could see there's just the slightest little bit of disappointment, but wow, what a thrilling finish! And
they know they're going to get plenty of press out there. They're going to see this replayed many times, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Nicely done by both of those young men tonight.
Third place finisher made it a three-car battle coming to the line, gave himself a chance to win on the final laps. Lee Sharpstein. Jesse?
Lee, you were in it there till the very end. How do you describe tonight's competition?
I was just telling him, that when they made me give up the lead to the 7 car, kind of just put us behind the 8 ball a little bit, and didn't really need that at all. And then, we were right there the whole entire time. Just we were behind the 8 ball and couldn't get there. Proud of my guys though. Time trial in the top 5, ran the top 3, had a bumper right on the guy that won. Can't really ask for a better start,
That's third place, Lee Sharpstein.
Catalano celebrates victory for the 602 Modifieds. Trevor Catalano, Evan Rogalski, Lee Sharpstein, Luke Baldwin, Ricky Collins, the top 5. An outstanding event. If we could have just eliminated the big pileup on the backstretch on the first lap, that would have been the race of the night.
Would have been, for sure. Still might be.
E-Mods are next. Their feature to end our evening, night 3 at the World Series. Night 3 of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing, coming off an exciting finish in the 602 Modified Feature. Pretty good race, other than that unfortunate racing deal that created a pile-up on the opening lap, creating some damage to cars. Hopefully the teams will all help each other out after the races tonight, get those buttoned back up, and get ready for a Monday night of racing action here at the World Series. What you see lined up on pit road are the E-Mods. They're going to be next, running a scheduled 30-lap feature, but let's talk about the 602s. Just 2 years ago, they brought them here for the first time. They came back last year, an improved field. They had good races. They had 3 each season, 6 total. Carson Dijon Tommaso won 4 of those, but it was tight battles in all of those races. He didn't dominate. He just happened to win 4 of the 6 by putting himself in the right position. Tonight he gets involved in that opening lap crash, which opened everything up for a very stout field of 30-plus cars, and we had a battle down the stretch, and it was a good one, those final 2 laps.
And you could not get, mathematically, unless it was a tie, you could not get a closer finish. 1/1000th of a second at the finish between Trevor Catalano and Evan Rogalski. And you know, we knew this division had the potential to put on that type of a show. And like you said, it's really a bummer that we had that big pileup on the opening lap, because without that absolutely would be perhaps not only the race of the night, but perhaps a candidate for the race of the week. But in any case, what a thrilling finish and what a clean race between those 2 youngsters up at the front of the field, Trevor Catalano and Evan Rogalski. At any point in time, Trevor could have thrown him a hip check and driven him up the racetrack, or Evan could have chopped him, going down into one of the corners. And they both drove each other with respect, both gave each other just enough room, and raced each other cleanly to the finish. And Trevor, by a matter of 3 inches or so, ends up down in victory lane.
The E-Mods getting ready to go, a regular division here at New Smyrna Speedway, a weekly class that I believe running just one time this week, and tonight happens to be that night. Of course, we'll see Pro Trucks next weekend. We'll see Bomber Bs that we haven't seen yet, a couple divisions. We have the ASA Southern Super Series coming in on Tuesday night. That's going to be fun. A 100-lap feature that will pay $10,000 to the winner. So plenty of great action coming up this week. Just 3 nights down after this next race gets on track. An E-Mod feature that has Hank Baker Sr. in the 52 starting on the pole position. Jeffrey White in the 41 starting alongside. Row 2, the 16 of Walt Obrinsky Jr. and Jarrett Corpy in the 112 starting 4th.
Jay Woolridge in the number 8 will start 5th tonight alongside Curtis Robinson in number 17, and Dale Howard in the number 63 car will round out our 7-car starting grid. You see the burn barrel still going down there in turn 1. A very chilly night here. Temperatures have dropped into the low 50s.
Burn barrels being utilized for the first time this week, counting Thursday practice through last night's racing action. It's been around 80 degrees each day. Today, we saw, maybe 65 or so at best?
Maybe, yeah. And it was weird, I got here Wednesday night, and I bet you it didn't drop below 70 degrees at all Wednesday evening. And, here we are, lower 50s, maybe even upper 40s tonight. But as you said earlier, this is the coolest night of the week. We should warm up pretty nicely once we get into the heart of next week. And still a lot of racing action yet to come here over the course of the next 6 nights.
E-Mod feature to finish our program, 30 laps the distance tonight. Jesse Punch down in victory lane for each of our events this evening. Charles Crawl and Adam Mackey up here bringing you the action on Flow Racing. Our videographers bringing you all of the pictures tonight. Mark, Melissa, and Patrick down in the trailer doing a great job with all of the shots, putting together the coverage each of these 3 nights. Good stuff here this week so far. And Mother Nature You know what? We'll take a little cooler conditions for dry conditions, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be the case. We'd like warm and dry.
Yeah,
we don't want to be too picky. I think we're going to get plenty of that this week.
First night we've been able to run to completion here this week. A couple of early nights. You know, last night we got the big race in. We got the Wayla Modified Tour 200 lapper in, and got this, part of the Sportsman feature event in. Pro Late models, we ran that one to completion last night, but still had a couple of features yet to go before Mother Nature intervened. Good to get it all in here tonight. Field still circulating behind the pace car, getting the tires up to temperature, getting the fluids warmed up. Hank Baker Sr. in the number 52. Jeffrey White will start alongside. Walter Obrinsky Jr. and Jared Corpy back in row number 2. Jay Woolridge and Curtis Robinson. Dale Howard round out our 7-car starting field.
You know how I know tonight's going to be a good night and has been a good night? I've just got the notification I earned another hour toward my stand goal, and I haven't stood up in 4 hours.
That's a good day right there.
I'm getting my exercise in.
That is a good day.
30 laps for this 7-car field of E-Mods. 1 to go signal this time. Last night we were watching the grandstands, and toward the end of the night, some of the diehard fans, the stands last night were packed. All of those grandstands were packed. The parking lot was overflowed. They had to go to a different parking lot. So the main parking lot was full, and late in the night, the races had, I think, just about been called.
Yep.
Gentleman in his raincoat was sitting there hoping to see more racing action. I hope he came back tonight. He's been able to remove the raincoat, unless it's a warm one, then he left it on.
I cannot tell you how many times I was that guy sitting in the grandstands in the rain, hoping to see just one more lap of racing action, as we're about to see 30 laps more of racing action, 30 laps to scheduled distance here in our E-Mod feature event, the one and only feature for this division this week. Field picking up the pace off of turn 4. Hank Baker and Jeffrey White bringing us to green.
Clean opening start. 52 of Baker had the advantage, but White gets a good run through turn number 2. Rockets down the back straightaway and into the race lead in turn number 3. Obrinsky's going to take advantage of the second groove now and go around Baker as well. Obrinsky has a fast race car, trying to follow in the tire tracks of the 41 of White.
Jeffrey White trying to stretch that advantage out, but Walter Obrinsky Jr. in the 16 carrying a lot of speed down the backstretch. Let's see if they can stretch that advantage over Hank Baker Sr. now. They put a couple of car lengths the distance over that driver in third.
28 laps to go in this 30-lap event. The leader, the 41 of Jeffrey White from Eustis, Florida, a 26-year-old competitor. The 16 of Obrinsky running in second. Driver from Michigan. We've seen green and black cars from Michigan in the past.
Absolutely.
Those Howe cars.
Absolutely. A lot of success over the years here at New Smyrna Speedway.
And look at the nose of that race car, and that's exactly what it says. It's Howe on it. Travis Eddy with a Howe car over the years when he was having his success in the Florida Modifieds here.
Of course, I remember Tim Ice, the Iceman, with a lot of success in that Howe house car over the years as well.
First and second on the screen, Jeffrey White, Walt Obrinsky Jr., Hank Baker running in the third position.
Streaming across the start-finish line to complete lap number 6. Laps ticking off at a pretty rapid pace here. Jeffrey White holding on to a 3-car length advantage over Walt Obrinsky Jr.
It was a busy night tonight. We didn't have any long-distance affairs, but we had 6 feature events, which is about as many as you'll see on any of these nights. I think 4 or 5, the most, for the most part. A couple of these nights feature just 3 features like Tuesday night when we have the ASA Southern Super Series here, for their 100-lap feature, the Clyde Hart Memorial. Lower right of the screen is the third place car of Baker. Upper left of the screen, first and second. They've pulled away from third place.
About a half a straightaway advantage the top 2 have opened up over Hank Baker in third. Some sparks out of the bottom of the number 16 there. Walt Obrinsky bottoming out there in turn 3. Obrinsky's looking like he wants to get racy. He's got a little bit of a faster race car, I think, than Jeffrey White does right now. Just needs to try to find a way around.
All of this action early in the season for the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series. World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing from New Smyrna Speedway. Here on Flow Racing with White leading. Obrinsky just needs a little mistake, and he's going to be right there. A little more power for the 16 down the straightaways. But Jeffrey White holding a good wheel, a good line throughout the corners.
Top 2 cars, nose to tail as we approach the midway point of our 30-lap E-Mod feature event. One and only time this division will be on track throughout the World Series here this week. Jeffrey White leading the field off at turn 4. 11 laps in the books. Here's a good look at the number 112, Jarrett Corpy, in the number 112 automobile, working his way down. Jarrett currently in the 4th position. Very familiar number on that automobile to race fans here in Central Florida. See another 112 down on the midway. A lot of people very familiar with Hot Shoe Gary Ballou. He's got a car on display as we got a battle for the lead heating up off of turn 2.
Obrinsky takes a peek to the inside of White. White familiar with racing here at New Smyrna Speedway. We've seen him in recent years during the World Series. Obrinsky, a driver from the Midwest Modified Store champion in 2022. And he's on the inside lane going for the race lead through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, he's out front.
Power move by Walt Obrinsky Jr. to take that top spot. Jeffrey White falling back into the 2nd position.
Halfway, 15 down, 15 to go.
Halfway home, cross flags from Ralph Miller.
Obrinsky car pulling away, setting sail at the front of the field. This is back 3rd and 4th now. Baker and Corpy. Robinson running in the 5th spot.
Jarrett Corpy starting to come to life. He has closed the gap on Hank Baker Sr. Baker was about a half a straightaway ahead, and that could be why right there. A big puff of smoke out of the pipes from Hank Baker as he rolled off the gas down into turn 1. You saw that puff of smoke there in turn 3 as well. So Hank Baker Sr. apparently experiencing some engine difficulties.
Look out. Got a little tight for
There we
Obrinsky.
go. Oof.
Smoke continues lower right of the screen on the Baker 63 machine, 52 machine rather. And yes, steam, I think, coming out of the overflow, drops down to the bottom of the track. You see it pouring out of that car. And there's Obrinsky. Look at this lead that he's built up all of a sudden while they work traffic.
Driving off into the distance, isn't he?
He chose that inside lane and worked out nicely for him. Dale Howard, when they were moving around that slower car, it was Obrinsky choosing to thread the needle on the inside, taking a chance, but he made it work. Now White's trying to catch back up as we are down to the final 10 laps of the race.
20 in, 10 to go. In our E-Mod feature event, there's a good look at the driver of the number 17 car, Curtis Robinson. Curtis now moving up into the 4th position with Hank Baker Sr. retiring down to pit road. So Curtis now having a good night in that beautiful looking number 17. Kind of reminiscent of the old David Pearson paint scheme there. From
Look at this.
Yeah, here comes Jeffrey White. Where'd he come from?
Well, he had the lead early on, fell to 2nd, looked like he was dropping back. All of a sudden, he's quicker down the straightaway than the 16. Almost wonder if Obrinsky's having some problems at the front of the field. He'll go around the slower traffic on the front straightaway. Jeffrey White has picked it up. We're down to 8 to go, and this is the lead battle in the E-Mods.
Jeffrey White is closed back in on Walt Obrinsky Jr. He's going to look to the inside now, diving off into turn 3. Ooh, a little contact there through the center of the corner. Saw Obrinsky just wiggle ever so slightly there, a little right front to left rear contact through the center of the corner, and now Obrinsky's going to open the gap back up. I think Jeffrey White might have jumped out of the throttle there when they made contact, and he gave up a couple of car lengths, but he's able to reel him back in as we have 6 laps remaining. Just 6 laps to go here at our EMOD feature event.
Yeah, the Obrinsky car, when they come by here on the front straightaway, doesn't sound like it's running full song anymore, as he's lost some power, I believe. Maybe down a cylinder, maybe a plug wire has come off, but the 16 of Obrinsky, who leads the way, you hear the sound as they come by the front straightaway.
Yep, definitely a little more throaty here down the front stretch, and that's usually the sign of a cylinder that is not firing properly.
And White will look to the inside, trying to take the lead back from Obrinsky in turn number 3.
Obrinsky's car still able to keep that speed up through the center of the corner, but this is where he's going to give it up right here.
Yeah, earlier.
Yeah, the power end of the straightaway right there.
Earlier in the race, Obrinsky was pulling White down the straightaway. Man, he got a little free on the top side of the track coming off the corner, trying to stay in the throttle. And he's going to have a hard time keeping up with White now. He'll do his best. 3 laps to go at the line for the EMOD feature.
Jeffrey White back to the top of the leaderboard. Walter Obrinsky Jr. slotting back into second. Obrinsky now he's able to keep up with him through the center of the corner, but there you see where that horsepower disadvantage is going to come into play. The second half of each straightaway is where White's going to start to tack onto his advantage. And he does it there again as we've got 2 laps remaining here. Just 1 mile of racing yet to go here in our EMOD feature event.
Coming to the white flag, it'll be 1 to go for Jeffrey White. Last lap, keeping the distance out in front of Obrinsky. Down to 3/4 of a lap, and White's in good shape, adding to his lead as they head off into turn 3.
Jeffrey White with a 5-car length advantage off of turn 4. He'll be looking at the checkered flag, and he will pick up the win. Jeffrey White going to go to victory lane in our EMOD feature.
Obrinsky takes second. Corpy takes the 3rd spot. 4th position to Robinson. Dale Howard in 5th. Jay Woolridge takes 6th. And Hank Baker Sr. in the 7th spot tonight as our 3rd night of racing action in the books for the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. 6 more nights to go. We talked about tomorrow night. 7:30 race time 1 night from now. 5 feature events scheduled. Super late models, 602 modifieds, tour type modifieds with a 50-lap feature, pro lates and Florida modifieds all in action tomorrow night. We'll have it for you on Flow Racing as Jeffrey White in a sharp number 41 car will pull into victory lane and celebrate as our final winner of this Sunday night. Celebration for Jeffrey White and a rare chance to race in an EMOD feature here this week. Good night of racing action completed. Full fields of cars. Pits remain packed. Other than the pile-up in our feature event for the 602s, tonight was a real good one. And that was just a circumstance of a lot of race cars and a little bit of a checkup and accordion as we send it down now to Jesse, who will be with Jeffrey White.
Here he is, your 602 modified winner, Jeffrey White. All smiles climbing out of that race car, Jeffrey. What does a win here in the World Series of Asphalt mean to you for your career?
It's pretty awesome, this whole World Series thing, you got people from all over the planet come down here, and they just try to make a name for themselves, and it's good that, we're a local crew that have, we can come out here and put a whooping on them, but I'm going to say, actually, the clutch went out in the first 5 laps, and it was just, as soon as I got back to the gas, it was just, it acted like it was spinning, but it was just the clutch was gone. But, I think he had some motor problems with his too, because that's the only way we got around him, honestly. But it's really fun, and it's a good win.
Muscled his way to a win here this evening. Jeffrey White in victory lane. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Jeffrey White takes the victory for the E-Mods here tonight at the World Series. Obrinsky second, Corpy third, Robinson and Howard rounding out the top 5 in our final race of 6 feature events that we had on the racetrack, including that Bomber A feature that was a makeup from last night. It was good to see them, and that was actually a good race too.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see the 4 cylinders out there getting their one night of glory here at New Smyrna Speedway as we close out our 3rd night. Already a third of the way home here in the World Series in 2023.
The first 3 kind of seem like you've got a long time to go. After you get past night 4, you get to 5, and then all of a sudden you're back in cold weather.
Bottom drops
You're
out
back
of it.
up north.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
Some of these people stay here year-round.
Lucky
believe it or
ones,
not.
right.
Well, mid-July, they probably think it's a little rough.
They wish they would come up and hang with us.
Time now to take a look at the highlights from this. Nope, just kidding. Oh, second place. We're going to go down and talk to second place first. I was excited for the highlights. I'm getting a little ahead of myself tonight. Jesse, take it away.
Don't get too far ahead of yourselves, gentlemen. We have to hear from Walt Obrinsky Jr., who finished second here this evening. Walt, reflecting on this race, anything that you would have done differently?
No. I mean, we hit the setup on the head. It was fast. I just right halfway through the race, we dropped a cylinder, and it was over after that. Couldn't get down the straightaways.
Second place finish here this evening for Walt Obrinsky Jr.
We knew he was having some engine issues there, and he confirmed it there. But you could see the disappointment on his face, absolutely.
And it's not time for the highlights yet either, Charlie, because the third place finisher, Jarrett Corpy, standing by, finished the podium, takes home the bronze medal tonight. Jesse's with him.
Jarrett, podium finish tonight. Biggest takeaways from your run. Are you satisfied?
Oh, no. We have a lot of work to do left, so I couldn't even see the 2 that ran for the lead in this one, but it's all in one piece. We can bring it back next time and make it better, you know. It's a good starting point for us.
That's third place.
Hey, Jesse, is it still warm down there?
Guys, it hasn't been warm down here all afternoon, but you know what? Thanks so much for asking from the booth.
Hey, no problem.
You look warm.
We got the air conditioner on up here.
Yeah, we do. It's very toasty up here.
Jesse Punch doing a good job down there bringing us all of our post-race interviews. Almost lost second and third, and guess what it's time for,
Hey,
Charlie?
what time is it, Adam?
It's time for the highlights. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
All right.
And roll it.
There
it is.
How about this right there?
What a
I thought we
save.
were about to wad a handful of them up right there, but
There's
good
Eric
save
Griffith
there.
trying to come through the field. Started pretty deep in the pack tonight. 2-time World Series champion, but
And that was a
Wallish had a run
big-time
tonight in
save
the
right there.
Supers. Congratulations to William. There's the Bomber A feature was a makeup. Oh, look at this. Florida
Jerry
Modifies.
Simons.
There was a save by Simons, and not quite so much behind him as a little 360 to show you both sides of the car. Cody Stickler claiming the Florida Modified win.
Hunter Wright bouncing her off the outside wall. Look at this move by Connor Jones, trying to take over a couple of spots, and this was the battle for the win. 6/1000ths of a second. The difference between Katie Hettinger celebrating in victory lane, an ill-timed caution flag relegating her back. And look at this, Adam. Ooh, a couple of big hits.
Yellow car continued, but there were a handful of cars that were not able to. In the exciting battle at the end, look at this finish.
Whoa.
Yes, the 54, Trevor Catalano claims his first win in his first World Series. 6:02 modified start. Going to be fun watching them 3 more times this week. Tour type modifieds back tomorrow night. Super late models, pro late models. Going to be a fun week with all the action of 6 nights of racing action still remain, and just about a special event each and every one of those nights to focus on as well.
Can't wait.
On behalf of Jesse Punch, who is very warm from the way it sounded down on pit road and in victory lane tonight, Charlie Crawl, I'm Adam Mackey. Thanks for watching. You're watching the World Series on Flow Racing.